Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. The hidden demon lord, the Empress brought her baby to the door and begged for responsibility. Chapter 31. With a click, Ning Yechen pinched the man's neck and broke it. Staring ahead with cold eyes, he said calmly, "Everyone come out. Lest I catch you one by one." This time, several twisted spirals appeared in the void in the woods, and people with the same strange lines on their faces as the dead men appeared one after another. Everyone stared at Ning Yechen closely, with particularly fearful expressions. They can't see through this man's cultivation. There is not a trace of spiritual power fluctuations in his body, and he looks like a mortal. However, as soon as he took action, he directly crushed a god-level man to death. The information is wrong. Is the agreement only to deal with a seriously injured fairy woman whose cultivation level is less than that of a god? Who is this man? Ning Yechen was not in a hurry to deal with these people, because he still had something to ask them. For the sake of you being from the demon world, I will give you a chance. Tell me why you are here and who ordered you. From the unique and strange black lines on their faces, coupled with the way the twisted void appears and the aura of the devil on their bodies, there is no doubt that these people in front of them are from the devil. He is too familiar with the scent of the devil world. But Ning Yechen didn't expect that the demon world would also get involved. HMPH, since you know that we are from the demon world, then just accept death. Do it, Netherworld greedy wolf. The leading man in black shouted angrily, and several other men in black around him chanted spells at the same time. The surrounding void once again produced a void-twisting spiral. Dozens of dark, huge nether greedy wolves jumped out of the void. The nether greedy wolf's fur is as elegant as burning black flames, its eyes are scarlet and bloodthirsty, its teeth are bared in a grin, and its sharp fangs are exposed. Every netherworld greedy wolf has a cultivation level at the peak of the god realm. Dozens of netherworld greedy wolves are placed in the human world, and they are enough to dominate a place. Kill him. The leading man standing in the middle smiled sinisterly and gave orders to all the netherworld greedy wolves. Dozens of nether greedy wolves turned into black shadows and galloped towards Ning Yechen. Ning Yechen didn't move a step, and glanced coldly at the netherworld greedy wolf that was rushing towards him, and whispered in his mouth, "Pierce." As soon as he finished speaking, countless sharp spears suddenly shot out from the ground. The spear was dark red as if stained with blood, and the body and tip of the spear were stained with dried blood. Countless spears stood in a row, and the sharp edges of the spears shone with cold light, like a forest of standing spears, exuding blood and cold light, making people shudder. Dozens of netherworld greedy wolves with heavenly god realm cultivation were all pierced by spears in the blink of an eye, and stuck in midair like specimens. Blood continued to flow down the spear to the ground. The leading man was stunned, his pupils were trembling, and he looked unbelievable. Dozens of netherworld greedy wolves were enough to conquer any place in the world, but they were all killed by the man in front of them in an instant. Ning Yechen put his hands behind his back, slowly stepped over the spear that stood like thorns, and walked towards the leading man. "Quick, stop him!" The leading man shouted loudly, but no one responded to him. When he looked back, he saw that the men around him had already had their spears stuck in the air at some point. The reason why he didn't die was just because the man in front of him deliberately avoided him. "Although I don't know what you did, the fact that you didn't kill me directly just now was your biggest mistake. Come out, Netherworld Wolf King." The man from the demon world cut his palms open, formed seals with his hands, condensed the dripping blood into a magic circle, and forcibly summoned the Netherworld Wolf King. A nether greedy wolf that was several times larger than an ordinary nether greedy wolf slowly emerged from the blood circle, exuding a fierce and violent terrifying aura. The summoning was successful, and a proud smile appeared on the demon man's face. This netherworld greedy wolf king has the cultivation level of an immortal. Looking at the entire human world, his strength is also at the peak. Although there is only one realm between the immortal realm and the god realm, there is an insurmountable gap. Kill him. The man from the demon world pointed at Ning Yechen and shouted angrily. The netherworld greedy wolf king swooped down and opened his bloody mouth to swallow Ning Yechen whole. But Ning Yechen didn't even look at it, and slapped him out of thin air. The huge netherworld greedy wolf king had his head smashed in an instant and fell to the ground. Circle.operator, EH. The demon man was stunned immediately, and the proud smile on his face froze. The netherworld greedy wolf king in the immortal realm was killed so easily. Who is this man? This power has long been far beyond the power of the human world. Boom boom boom. Several immortal thunders fell from the sky without warning, hitting Ning Yechen right in the body. In an instant, only a bottomless pit was left where Ning Yechen was, with smoke and dust rising all around. The punishment of the shackles of heaven has fallen. A proud smile appeared on the demon world man's face again, and he breathed a sigh of relief. After being obliterated by the heavenly immortal thunder, he should have turned into ashes. However, when the dust gradually dissipated, Ning Yechen's figure was still unscathed, walking towards him calmly. There are people in the world who have been punished by heaven and still remain safe. Looking at Ning Yechen approaching with striding steps, fear arose in the demon world man's heart. Just as he was about to take something out of his arms, an invisible sharp blade cut off his arm. Ah! The demon man screamed in pain. The fallen broken arm held a dark runestone tightly in its palm. Ning Yechen hooked his fingers, and the runestone flew into his hand. Sound transmission stone. He couldn't be more familiar with the runes of this demon world. This one in your hand can be used to call for rescue in an emergency. As long as this rune stone is crushed, people on the other side can receive a message for help, even if they are separated by two realms. You want to call someone over, don't you? Ning Yechen said while looking down at the demon man lying on the ground. The telepathic stone was taken away, and the man in the demon world felt desperate. What he never expected was that Ning Yechen threw the telegraph stone back into his hand. And urged, "Scream, hurry up, my wife is still waiting for me to come back, in a hurry. I solved it once and for all. Humph, you said this, don't regret it." The man from the demon world smiled ferociously, laughing at Ning Yechen's extremely stupid behavior. To actually give the enemy a chance to call for rescue is simply stupid. Lord Yi Shang, please come to the world. Inflict the most horrific punishment on those who offend my demonic realm. The demon man crushed the runestone in his hand and shouted towards the sky. Who is it? Dare to offend my demonic people? In an instant, the void twisted and spiraled again, and a burly man more than 3 feet tall and wearing dark magic armor stepped out of the void. The tall body and the fierce and terrifying aura are very oppressive. Of course, this is for other people. Ning Yechen slowly floated up in the air and looked at Yi Xie, and said calmly. It's me. Seeing Yi Xie coming, the man from the demon world hurriedly struggled to crawl to his feet, pointed at Ning Yechen and said angrily. Lord Yi Shu, he was the one who killed me, a member of the demon realm. You offended my demon clan. Waste, not even a tiny ant can deal with it. Yi Xie angrily scolded the demon man on the ground, kicked him away, and then raised his eyes to look at Ning Yechen with a very disdainful expression. To him, people in the human world are basically just ants that he crushes to death. If you offend my demon world, use your life to atone for it. Yi Xie didn't want to waste time, so he opened his mouth wide, and a bright beam of light quickly gathered in his mouth. Annihilate the ants. Magic annihilation. With a loud shout, a beam of light shot out from his mouth. The terrifying spiritual pressure completely tore apart the void along the way, and the earth was lifted up. The power of destroying the world seemed to destroy everything along the way. This blow is enough to easily destroy an entire city. Ning Yechen was completely swallowed up by the beam in an instant. Yi Xie snorted disdainfully, feeling that Ning Yechen must have died in the beam of light he shot. Just when Yi Xie was about to turn around and leave, he saw his men looking behind him in horror. That expression was like seeing a ghost. Yi Xie frowned and turned back following the demon man's gaze. The next second, Yi Xie's face showed the same expression as that of the man from the demon world. I saw Ning Yechen, who had completely received a shot of demonic annihilation, standing in midair intact. Not to mention being injured, even the clothes on his body were not damaged at all. How can this be? Yi Xie's eyes widened in disbelief. That was the full blow he could unleash in the human world. Although it was restricted by the laws of heaven in the human world, it was still a full blow with the power of an immortal. Your surname is Yi, and you can use demonic annihilation. Are you from the Yi family, the first legion in the demon world? Ning Yechen straightened the messed up clothes without any pain and asked calmly to Yi Xie. That's right, I am the commander-in-chief of the first legion in the demon world. Yi Shu. Yi Xie raised his head and replied proudly. Commander of the demon realm, that's a pretty high military rank. That is an existence that can command an army of 10,000 people. Ning Yechen continued to ask calmly. Is the demon general of the First Legion still the same guy as Yi Tianxian? Yes, Yi Xie replied without thinking too much. Did he ask you to come here? Ning Yechen's eyes narrowed slightly and he continued to ask. If he knew it was the guy from Yi Tianxian who ordered it, he would definitely not be spared. It was not ordered by Lord Yi Tianxian, it was. No, why should I answer your question? Yi Xie was subconsciously preparing to continue answering when he suddenly realized what he was saying. Why should he answer this ant question honestly? And listening to his words, it seems that he knows their demon world very well. You can even guess which legion he belongs to. Who are you? How dare you let me answer your question? Let's wait until you defeat me. Although he didn't know why Ning Yechen survived his magic attack, Yi Xie firmly believed that he must have used some special means to avoid it, otherwise he would not have been safe. This time he took action directly. He came in front of him in an instant, pulled out a machete from behind and slashed it straight at Ning Yechen. The sharp sword energy sank from the sky into the ground from top to bottom, opening up a spacious sword gully. However, the image of Ning Yechen split into two did not appear. The seemingly terrifying knife was firmly held in Ning Yechen's hand with twisted fingers. 2 fingers caught his full blow. Yi Xia's eyes widened in shock again. Has it been too long since he has been to the human world? When did the human world have people with such terrifying strength? Have you finished your move? Then it's my turn. Ning Yechen exerted slight force with his fingers, and a crisp sound of chin sounded, and the machete in Yi Xia's hand was broken directly. Yi Xie had a look of disbelief on his face, staring blankly at the cut knife in his hand. This is an immortal weapon given to him by Lord Yi Tianxian himself. It was broken off like this. Could it be that what Lord Yi Tianxian gave him was a fake? At this moment, Yi Xie even began to doubt whether the machete in his hand was a real fairy weapon. Otherwise, given the strength of the immortal weapon, how could it be easily broken? Ning Yechen raised his palm and pointed it at Yi Xie. Yi Xie quickly put on a defensive posture. Although I was shocked at Ning Yechen's strength, I wasn't too worried. Because in the human world, they will be restricted by heaven, and their cultivation strength will not exceed the immortal realm at most. This is true even for him who is in the immortal king realm. At best, the man in front of him could only use moves with the same cultivation level as him. Even if he can't do anything to him, he can't do anything to him either. Yi Xie vowed in his heart. But soon he discovered something was wrong. An invisible force began to twist his body and limbs. That force was invisible and powerful. Even if he exerted all his strength, it still had no effect. The limbs were twisted, the bones made a crackling sound, and the magic armor on his body was directly broken. The severe pain caused Yi Xie to let out a heart-rending cry. Ever since he stepped into the immortal king realm and became the leader of 10,000 people in the demon realm, he has never felt so powerless and fearful again. The power exerted by the person in front of me completely exceeded the strength that should be expected in the immortal realm. The restrictions of the rules of heaven have no effect on him. How can this be? I have never heard of anyone being able to ignore the rules of heaven. Tell me, who ordered you to come here? Ning Yechen slowly walked through the void and came to Yi Xie, and asked indifferently. Yi Xie was still hesitating whether to answer or not, but his body became more and more twisted and irregular. I don't know who the other party is. When that man found me, he only told me that he wanted me to do one thing for him. He was to come to the human world to kill a woman and take away a child. The man promised to give me the secret medicine to break through to the immortal emperor realm after it was completed, so I agreed. I don't know the rest. Yi Xie finally realized the terror of Ning Yechen. This kind of power is simply beyond what a small immortal king like him can match. Under the severe pain and fear that twisted his body, Yi Xie quickly shouted in horror and replied. Hearing this, Ning Yechen put down his hand and stopped twisting Yi Xie into a twist. Forgive him and dare not lie to him. Seeing that he was the one who served under him before, he spared Yi Xie this time. It's a pity that I still haven't got any information about it. The other party is very cautious in doing things and does not show up in person at all. Ning Yechen frowned in displeasure and said to Yi Xie, "Go back to the demon world. If you dare to come here again, prepare to disappear. Otherwise, the entire demon world will not be able to protect you." Having said that, just as Ning Yechen was about to rush back to Luo Ruiying, another cold voice sounded behind him. What a loud tone! The void suddenly tore open behind Yi Xie, and a figure slowly stepped out across the crack. The person who came was wearing a gorgeous black robe, with his head tied up in a high ponytail. His long black hair almost fell to his ankles, and his stern face revealed a hint of evil charm. The person coming is none other than the demon general of the 3rd Legion of the Demon Realm, Yi Tianxian. The terrifying cultivation level of the Immortal Emperor. Even in the demon world, Yi Tianxian is ranked among the strongest. Yi Xie was overjoyed to see the visitor, and hurriedly climbed to the feet of Yi Tianxian with his twisted body. "Lord Yi Tianxian, you must make the decision for me. This person has not only offended my demon clan, but he has also ignored you and the demon world." With his boss Yi Tianxian here, Yi Xie was immediately confident. "I am sure that the man in front of me is dead." Yi Tianxian did not look at Ning Yechen in a hurry. Instead, he glanced at Yi Xie at his feet, frowned and reprimanded. "Why are you here? I didn't remember to let you come to the human world privately, did I?" Please forgive me, Lord Yi Tianxian." Yi Xie didn't dare to tell Yi Tianxian the truth. He was bewitched by a mysterious man to come to the human world to kill someone, so he had to hesitate and confess directly to Yi Tianxian. When Yi Tianxian saw Yi Xie confessing directly, he only left a cold sentence, "I will order the punishment after returning to the devil world," and did not ask any more questions. In the 6 realms, people from other realms often go to other realms secretly. This is a common thing. The demon realm is no exception. Yi Tianxian only thought that Yi Xie and the others were just running into the human world without authorization and causing mischief. He happened to be searching for traces of Lord Demon Lord in the human world, and happened to sense the aura of demon annihilation. Out of curiosity, I came over to find out what was going on, and happened to hear Ning Yechen's words again. Yi Tianxian was very angry that Yi Xie and his group lost to a person from the human world. The reason why he punished Yi He was not only because he came to the human world privately, but mainly because he lost the fight. The demon world values honor and dignity. Losing is equivalent to losing the demon world's face. This is what makes Yi Tianxian the most angry. Originally, he had no intention of intervening. Even if he lost and died, he would still be inferior to others in terms of strength and had nothing to say. But Ning Yechen's last words were too arrogant, so he couldn't help but show up. He wanted to see who it was that dared to be so arrogant. Even the 9 immortal realms in the immortal realm dare not say that the entire demonic realm cannot protect people. Yi Tianxian turned his eyes to Ning Yechen. His expression was stunned for a moment, with doubt on his face. Then he frowned slightly and looked him up and down carefully. His eyes gradually widened, and his expression became more and more complicated during this period. It was a mixture of surprise and fear on his face. "Humph, long time no see, Yi Tianxian." Ning Yechen smiled contemptuously and said hello to Yi Tianxian. Yi Xie was not happy now. He struggled to stand up and roared at Ning Yechen. "Bold, who do you think you are, kid? Dare to call Lord Yi Tianxian by his name? Stop trying to get close to our Lord Yi Tianxian. If you offend my demon world, you will die today, boy." "Yes, Lord Yi Tianxian." With the presence of Yi Tianxian, Yi Xie looked extremely arrogant. After speaking, he looked at Yi Tianxian with admiration. However, unexpectedly, Yi Tianxian looked extremely ugly. He grabbed Yi Xie by the collar and squeezed his face so hard that his skull was almost crushed. Yi Tianxian came close to his face, stared at him with almost murderous eyes, and said in a cold tone, "What the hell are you talking about? Do you want to kill me? Do you know who is in front of you? Idiot, yes, it's you, Lord Yi Tianxian." Although his skull was about to crack in pain, Yi Xie still resisted and did not dare to make a sound, and said with a very puzzled expression, "I didn't mean me, idiot." Yi Tianxian was so angry that he pushed Yi Xie into the ground with all his strength, and the whole earth shook violently. After this blow, Yi Xie was already on the verge of death. Until now, Yi Xie still didn't understand why Yi Tianxian punished him so angrily. He has never seen his master look so frightened. Lord Yaden seems to be very afraid of the man in front of him. Even the man in black who was lucky enough to survive looked stunned. Lord Yi Tianshan, the master of the demon world, is actually afraid of the man in front of him. Yi Tianshan let go of Yi Xie and threw him aside. Then he touched his right chest with his left hand and respectfully bowed to Ning Yechen and greeted him elegantly. Yi Tianshan, I have met Lord Demon Lord. Yi Tianshan felt extremely guilty and ashamed. It's unbelievable that he didn't recognize Lord Demon Lord at first sight. He even spoke rudely to Lord Demon Lord. And his men seemed to have taken action against Lord Demon Lord. It is simply a shame to be the demon general of the First Legion. Yi Xie and the man in black looked extremely shocked, staring blankly at Ning Yechen. The man in front of me is the demon lord who has disappeared from the demon world for more than 100 years. You can't go wrong. To be able to make the great Lord Yi Tianshan bow down like this, only that person in the entire demon world is qualified. After responding, Yi Xie and the man in black quickly knelt down on their knees, kowtowed, and said tremblingly, I've met Lord Demon. At this moment, Yi Xie and the man in black were heartbroken and filled with regret. They actually took action against Lord Demon. This is an unforgivable sin in the demon world. Ning Yechen waved his hand and said with a look of disgust, Don't call me that, I'm no longer the demon lord. Lord Demon Lord, you are still the only demon lord in my demon world. We have been looking for you and waiting for you to return to the devil world. The devil world cannot live without you. Please come back with me. Yi Tianshan raised his head, looked at Ning Yechen urgently and begged. They had been searching for Ning Yechen for almost 100 years. The purpose is to welcome back their great Lord Demon Lord. After I leave, won't there be a new demon lord to take over? Ning Yechen asked in confusion when he heard that Yi Tianshan and the others had been looking for him. The demon world has always respected the strong, and countless people are trying to compete for the position of the Demon King. Even in the past, he fought all the way up and defeated everyone before ascending to the supreme position in the demon world. It stands to reason that as soon as he leaves, there should be many people coveting the position of Demon Lord. Yi Tianshan nodded and replied with a cold and solemn expression. After you left, there were indeed people with evil intentions who tried to ascend to the position of Demon Lord. We have eliminated many people with evil intentions. They have no qualifications to get involved in your position, Lord Demon Lord. Ning Yechen was speechless. Doesn't this mean that after he left, there was no demon lord in the demon world for more than 100 years? He thought someone had already taken his place. He is already ready to retire peacefully and enjoy the rest of his life. Lord Demon Lord, we are waiting for your return. Please come back to the demon realm with me. Yi Tianshan once again pleaded with Ning Yechen. Ning Yechen still waved his hand in disgust and refused without hesitation. Don't want. Anyone among you can be the demon lord. I will accept whoever the demon lord loves, but I shouldn't accept it anyway. Why? Yi Tianshan asked, extremely puzzled. Ning Yechen showed an expectant smile on his face and said lightly. Because I have more important things now. More important things. Yi Tianshan repeated in confusion, greatly confused in his heart. What could be more important than becoming the supreme master of the demon world and leading the demon world? And he actually saw Lord Demon Lord's happy smile that he had never seen before. Lord Demon Lord actually has this kind of smile. Is this still the demon lord he knows? Now that he had been found, Ning Yechen had no intention of hiding it. He coughed and solemnly announced to his face. I have to take care of my wife and daughter, and I don't have time to be that demon king anymore. Don't come to me again in the future. What? Sigma, Su degree D degree Su. As soon as these words came out, Yi Tianshan's heart suddenly stirred up a storm, his face was full of horror, and he once wondered if he had heard it wrong. Lord Demon Lord actually got married. He even has children. This is impossible. Lord Demon Lord had never been close to a woman during his reign. Suddenly, he learned that he even had a child, which made Yi Tianshan completely unable to believe it. Lord Demon Lord has been in seclusion for more than 100 years, and he even has a child. If this news reaches the demon world, it will probably stir up 1,000 waves with just one stone. Yi Tianshan asked blankly, Is this true, Lord Demon? Ning Yechen nodded with a smile. There is a feeling in my heart that an old father is sharing his joy of having a daughter with others. After receiving Ning Yechen's affirmative answer, Yi Tianshan's horrified expression gradually turned into joy, and he hurriedly blessed. Congratulations to Lord Demon Lord on your wedding. Happy little princess. This subordinate will inform everyone in the demon world of this exciting good news. We will be ready to welcome the demon lord's wife and the little princess back to the demon realm. With that said, Yi Tianshan couldn't wait to send a message to inform the entire demon world. Ning Yechen hurriedly raised his hand to stop Yi Tianshan, glanced at him speechlessly, and emphasized sternly. As I said, I am no longer the demon lord of the demon realm. I want to live in seclusion with my wife and daughter, and I will never go back. You don't have to come to me anymore. I don't want anyone to disturb my life with my wife and daughter, do you understand? If Yi Tianshan informed the entire demon world about this, I'm afraid there would be no peace for a day. The peaceful and happy life he desires must not be disturbed by anyone. Yes, but, Yi Tianshan was reluctant and wanted to continue to persuade, but was stopped by Ning Yechen's cold eyes. No buts. Is it because I've been away for so long that you can't even understand what I said? At this moment, Ning Yechen once again regained his familiar demon lord temperament. Yi Tianshan couldn't help but have cold sweat on his forehead. He didn't dare to disobey Ning Yechen's wishes anymore, so he had to keep his mouth shut. Now that you understand, leave now. My wife has been waiting for a long time, she is probably getting anxious. I have to go back quickly. Ning Yechen waved his hand and was about to turn around and leave to rush back to Luo Ruiying. Yi Tianshan looked full of curiosity. Whenever the demon lord's wife and children are mentioned, the demon lord becomes softer than ever. Lord Demon Lord has changed. Just when Ning Yechen was about to leave, God Yi Tian finally came to his senses and remembered something very important. He still doesn't know why his subordinates offended Lord Demon Lord. This is no small matter. Lord Demon Lord, please wait a moment. Dare I ask if my subordinates have offended you? Yi Tianshan's eyes were condensed, his face darkened, and the terrifying murderous intent instantly enveloped the surroundings. The cold murderous intent penetrated into the bone marrow like a needle. He didn't ask how Yi Xie offended Ning Yechen, but directly asked if he was offended. Because no matter what the reason is, offending the demon lord is equivalent to rebellion, which is an unforgivable death penalty in the demon world. When Yi Xie and the man in black heard this, they couldn't help but shuddered, and their hearts were filled with despair. Ning Yechen turned around and said indifferently, although they did attack me, for the sake of being your subordinates, I spared them. It's my subordinates' fault. I actually let my subordinates offend you, Lord Demon Lord. This subordinate deserves death. Please punish me, Lord Demon Lord. Yi Tianshan knelt on one knee, bowed his head and confessed. How many times have I told you, I am no longer the Demon Lord? I wouldn't blame you either. Just leave now and don't disturb my life. Ning Yechen urged Yi Tianshan to leave quickly with a look of disgust. No matter how many times he said it, Yi Tianshan still seemed to regard him as the Demon Lord, which made him helpless. It is not good for subordinates to be too loyal and fanatical. Seeing that Ning Yechen was not going to punish him, Yi Tianshan simply raised his palm and inserted it into his chest. You must bear the sin of offending Lord Demon Lord. Even if Lord Demon stopped pursuing the matter, he couldn't just forgive himself. Ning Yechen looked at Yi Tianshan speechlessly. Although he had some understanding of his subordinate's character, he still felt speechless when he saw him stabbing himself through the chest without hesitation. People in the demon world are just stupid. He doesn't even pursue the case anymore, but insists on forcing himself to be punished. It happens every time. Ning Yechen almost wonders if people in the demon world have the hidden attribute of being a pussy. After punishing himself, Yi Tianshan looked at Yi Xie and the man in black with cold eyes. When he raised his hand, a jet black beam of light directly swallowed and annihilated the man in black. Then his palm was pointed in front of Yi Xie. As the demon general of the First Legion, his subordinates offended the demon lord. He was guilty of mismanaging his subordinates and must be punished. If Yi Xie and others attack the demon lord, they must be punished by death. Yi Xie also knew this very well and closed his eyes silently without saying any words to beg for mercy. When he learned that Ning Yechen was the demon lord, he had already guessed his ending. When Yi Tianxian was about to take action, Ning Yechen stopped him and said, Okay, let him go. Seeing that Yi Xie did not know his identity at the beginning and did not pose any threat to his wife and children, he forgave him this time. Lord Demon Lord, he has offended you. Yi Tianxian frowned slightly, but did not lower his palms. He still seemed not to easily forgive Yi Xie for his sins. He was just ordered by others. It's useless even if you kill him. I won't pursue him any further, just let him go. Ning Yechen said lightly. Okay, follow the instructions of Lord Demon Lord. I'll spare you this time. Yi Tianxian reluctantly put down his palm. According to his intention, Yi Xie must be killed. But since Lord Demon Lord spoke, he reluctantly let Yi Xie go this time. By the way, he also wanted to ask for some information from Yi Xie. Who dares to instruct people from the demon world to attack Lord Demon Lord? After luckily escaping, Yi Xie hurriedly kowtowed to Ning Yechen and said gratefully, Thank you Lord Demon Lord for your forgiveness. Just when he thought he was dead, Lord Demon Lord personally interceded for him. Yi Xie was filled with gratitude. I'm leaving, remember, don't bother me again. After Ning Yechen saw that everything was settled, he didn't stay for long. He laughed a word and hurriedly left. Yi Tianxian watched Ning Yechen leave with helpless eyes, feeling extremely reluctant to leave. But fortunately, we finally found the whereabouts of Lord Demon. We must tell others this news quickly. In the woods, Luo Ruiying was holding Luo Hongye and playing with her while waiting for Ning Yechen to come back. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying spiritual pressure was generated 100 miles away, and a terrifying beam of light that destroyed the world flashed in front of his eyes. The beam of light is also mixed with a strong aura of demons. A demon has descended into the human world. It looked like he was fighting with someone unknown. Probably not here to find her. But even if he didn't come here to find her, he couldn't stay here for long. Not long after, a thunderbolt from the clear sky swung down from far away, and the thunder resounded throughout the sky. The obliteration of the heavenly immortal thunder. Luo Ruiying's beautiful eyes were slightly focused, her expression serious. The presence of demons means that this place is also very dangerous. And the battle over there has already attracted punishment from heaven, which shows that the cultivation level has exceeded the constraints of heaven in the human world. We must leave as soon as possible. Luo Ruiying stopped waiting and hurried into the woods to look for Ning Yechen. Yechen. After searching around for a while, no trace of Ning Yechen was found, and her spiritual consciousness did not detect it. Luo Ruiying's expression became anxious and she shouted to the surroundings. What she was most worried about was whether Ning Yechen would encounter something unexpected. Fortunately, after shouting a few more times, Ning Yechen slowly emerged from the other side of the woods. Luo Ruiying breathed a sigh of relief when she saw this, came to Ning Yechen, and said with a slightly angry look. Where have you been and you haven't even responded? I'm sorry, madam, I'm a little far away, and I accidentally got lost. Ning Yechen scratched his head and said apologetically. Luo Ruiying checked Ning Yechen carefully and felt relieved when she saw that there was nothing wrong with him. It's okay, let's go quickly. There seems to be a demon clan ahead. The demon clan is very powerful and not very safe. Let's go around by another route. Okay, according to my wife. Ning Yechen happily walked up to Luo Ruiying and opened his arms, ready to be hugged by the princess. However, this time Luo Ruiying blushed slightly and turned around. I'll hold the baby, and I'll carry you on my back instead. Ning Yechen couldn't help but let out a disappointed sigh. He was ready to lie in his wife's gentle arms, but instead he had to lie on his back. At this moment, Ning Yechen regretted coming down from his arms. It's all Yi Xia's fault. If it hadn't been for their arrival, he wouldn't have had to leave his wife's arms. Suddenly I regretted letting that guy go like this. Blood loss. Ning Yechen lay on Luo Ruiying's back with great regret. Luo Ruiying held Luo Hongye in one hand and carried Ning Yechen on her back. She jumped high into the air, changed her route and continued to fly towards the outside of the woods. Ning Yechen lay on Luo Ruiying's back, and could feel the warmth of her back and the faint fragrance of her black hair hanging behind her. The fragrance was very refreshing. I couldn't help but reach out and lift her hair, bring it to my nose and smell it gently. The hair flows in the hand, very silky and delicate. Luo Ruiying noticed Ning Yechen's actions, her cheeks turned slightly red, and she asked. Why did you lift my hair? Why is this guy so dishonest behind the scenes? Because my wife's hair smells very good, and my husband likes it. Ning Yechen praised bluntly. Luo Ruiying was a little embarrassed to be praised, but she didn't say much and let Ning Yechen caress her hair. Luo Hongye also curiously climbed onto her shoulder and grabbed her hair. Ning Yechen also teased Luo Hongye by pinching her hair and scratching her ears with the ends of her hair, making her giggle. This father and daughter are really. What do you think of her hair? Luo Ruiying was helpless, but she kept a smile on her lips. The nervousness and anxiety just now disappeared with Luo Hongye's laughter. After Ning Yechen shook Luo Hongye for a while, he remembered that Luo Ruiying mentioned the demon clan just now, so he tentatively asked. Madam, you just mentioned the demon clan. What do you think of the demon clan people? Luo Ruiying didn't expect that Ning Yechen would suddenly mention the demon clan. Her expression suddenly condensed, and she said without hesitation. The people of the demon race are cruel, and they do all kinds of evil. They are extremely sinful. They are particularly warlike and only respect the strong. It often invades other walks of life and causes unrest in all walks of life. Everywhere he went, there were corpses everywhere and turned into ruins and a sea of fire. They are an evil and cruel clan. Ning Yechen. Madam, actually, maybe the demons are not that bad now. Ning Yechen felt mixed after hearing this and tried to explain. Although what Luo Ruiying said was true, it was already the demon world hundreds of years ago. After he unified the demon world was completely different. It's just that the outside world seems to still have its inherent impression of the demon world. Luo Ruiying frowned slightly and warned Ning Yechen seriously. You have never met the demons, so you don't know much about them. The ferocity of the demons is beyond your imagination. They will not be merciful to anyone, not even their own people. Especially the legendary new Supreme Master of the demon world, Yi Mochen. It is rumored that when he unified the demon world hundreds of years ago, he almost wiped out half of the people in the demon world who resisted him. He was extremely cruel. After that, he led an army of demons to invade the fairy world. That battle between immortals and demons almost destroyed most of the fairy world. It shows how cruel and bloodthirsty the demon realm's supreme being is. All the demons respect him as the demon lord, and all the other demons are no exception. If you encounter someone from the demon clan, you must flee far away and never get involved with them. There is no good person among the demons. Ning Yechen. I. Quote. My lady is right. I remember it for my husband. When Ning Yechen heard Luo Ruiying's high praise for herself, she couldn't help but twitch her face slightly, and could only sneer and agree. Fortunately, I asked tentatively first. If I really knew his identity, it would be okay. The last war between immortals and demons was entirely caused by the immortal world that provoked him first, but everyone said that it was the demon world that took the initiative to invade the immortal world. He couldn't explain to Luo Ruiying. Even if she did say it, not only would her identity be exposed, but she wouldn't believe it either. Luo Hongye, who was sitting in Luo Ruiying's arms, raised her head and asked curiously. Mother, are all those demons bad guys? Yes, those are bad guys. They have 4 long fangs, 2 horns on their heads, and several eyes on their faces. The ones who like to eat the most are children like Yi Yi. Luo Ruiying said seriously. Usha, Yi Yi doesn't taste good. These words frightened Luo Hongye so much that she quickly shrank into Luo Ruiying's arms in fear. When Luo Ruiying saw this, she showed a cunning smile as if her plan had succeeded, gently stroked Luo Hongye's back and comforted. As long as you are obedient every night, nothing will happen to your mother and father. Yeah, be obedient every night. Luo Hongye nodded obediently and said nuo nuo. Luo Ruiying smiled with satisfaction, and suddenly noticed that Ning Yechen behind her was looking at herself in the mirror, and couldn't help but wonder. Why do you keep looking in the mirror? Fine. Just to see if I look scary. Ning Yechen put away the mirror and breathed a sigh of relief. Fine, he doesn't have long fangs, horns or multiple eyes. After nearly half an hour of flying, Luo Ruiying, Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye finally left the demon realm forest. The journey was much smoother than expected, and we didn't even encounter a monster. Luo Ruiying was worried that Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye wouldn't be able to bear the long hours of flying, so she stopped to rest for the time being. Just when Ning Yechen and others had just sat down to rest, the sound of rushing horse hooves could be heard faintly not far away. Ning Yechen was not surprised by this. He had long sensed a situation ahead. The other party's cultivation level was very low. He guessed that he was not specifically looking for his wife and children, so he was not in a hurry to take action in advance. Luo Ruiying felt that someone was approaching, and her nerves suddenly became tense. Worried that someone was specifically here to hunt her down again, she asked Ning Yechen to keep an eye on Luo Hongye, while she went alone to find out. Luo Ruiying concealed her aura, looked for the sound, and leapt to the branches of a big tree, secretly staring down. On the road below, two people were riding fast on horseback. One of them is a girl who looks no more than 15 or 16 years old. She has a delicate appearance, a ponytail, and a dash of heroic spirit between her eyebrows that is not inferior to that of a man. The other person is a middle-aged man with a Chinese character face. The middle-aged man suffered multiple injuries and was covered in bruises. Behind the two of them, there was a group of masked men in black, holding sharp knives and constantly flying through the woods to chase after them. The strength gap between the two sides is very obvious. But the cultivation level of both sides is not high. The highest level is only the cultivation level of the martial spirit realm. Luo Ruiying quickly judged that these people were not here to find her. It was just an assassination that happened by chance. Seeing that the assassin behind him was about to catch up, the middle-aged man told the girl, "Miss, leave quickly. I'll stay and stop them." "No, Uncle Zhang, let's go together. We will arrive at Nanli capital soon." Qi Yuan reluctantly shouted to the middle-aged man. Zhang He was the steward of the Qi family who had grown up with her and was also her personal bodyguard. She really didn't want to see him die here just to delay her. HMPH. None of you can leave. A man in black behind him jumped into the air and threw dozens of darts at Qi Yuan and Zhang He from high altitude. The darts were so fast that Qi Yuan and Zhang He had no time to dodge. Zhang He immediately swooped down and hugged Qi Yuan, using himself as a human shield to block the dart that should have hit Qi Yuan. The two fell off their horses as a result. The two horses were hit by several darts and died on the spot. Uncle Zhang, are you okay?" Qi Yuan looked at Zhang He, who risked his life to protect her, and quickly expressed concern. Zhang He was hit by several darts behind him, and coupled with the original injuries on his body, he looked very weak. "Miss, don't worry about me, just leave. Let's go. Where do you want to go?" More than a dozen men in black fell down, surrounding Qi Yuan and Zhang He, and slowly approached them with bloody swords in their hands. Seeing that he was surrounded, Zhang He couldn't help but feel despair. With his current state, it is impossible to break through again. Qi Yuan looked at the group of men in black who were approaching slowly, without any fear in his expression. He stood up with his sword and looked around at everyone, feeling ready to die in his heart. The men in black looked at each other with playful expressions. On the contrary, I am not in a hurry. A little girl in the psychic realm also wants to attack them. How ridiculous. Let me meet this little girl. A man in black stepped forward and waved to Qi Yuan disdainfully. Qi Yuan angrily swung his sword forward, but was easily dodged by the man in black. Instead, he was teased. As expected of the good-for-nothing lady of the Qi family. "You want to resist to this extent? Ha ha ha, I'm not very talented, but my looks are very good. I just don't know how this daughter of the Qi family tastes." The man in black's obscene gaze boldly roamed Qi Yuan's body. "Why don't we strip her naked first? This scenery will definitely be very beautiful, ha ha ha." The other men in black around him also sneered. Qi Yuan's face turned red with anger. She clenched her silver teeth and swung her sword at the man in black again in anger. The man in black stepped aside, raised his hand and knocked the long sword out of Qi Yuan's hand, and kicked her to the ground. Qi Yuan covered her abdomen, her expression full of unwillingness and despair. Her cultivation strength is really poor. No match for these assassins at all. Just fish and meat to be slaughtered. Hey, don't resist any more. The man in black slowly walked up to Qi Yuan, and cut off her clothes with the long sword in his hand. "Miss, Zhang He lay on the ground and tried to get up, but another assassin in black stepped on his feet. He could only watch Qi Yuan being stripped naked, but he couldn't do anything, and his ears were filled with the lustful laughter of the assassin in black. Zhang He couldn't bear to look straight and closed his eyes. However, at this moment, the obscene laughter in his ears suddenly stopped. When Zhang He opened his eyes again, he saw an extremely beautiful woman standing in front of Qi Yuan holding a sword. My own lady, who is known as the most beautiful woman in Nanli City, was so overshadowed in front of this woman. Even Qi Yuan, a woman, couldn't help but stare blankly at Luo Ruiying, her heart filled with wonder. There is such a beautiful woman in the world. After coming back to her senses for a moment, Qi Yuan discovered that the man in black standing in front of her had been stabbed through the heart by a sword and fell to the ground with eyes full of disbelief. When did this woman appear and when did she kill that man? She had no reaction at all. Luo Ruiying held her sword and looked around at the other men in black with cold eyes, and threatened coldly. If you don't leave, then don't even think about leaving. After Luo Ruiying observed for a while, she finally decided to save Qi Yuan and Zhang He. She didn't want to get involved, but she really couldn't stand the dirty methods of these assassins in black. In a patch of grass not far from Luo Ruiying, two heads, one big and one small, were revealed, secretly looking at Luo Ruiying. The two of them were father and daughter Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye, who had followed quietly. Ning Yechen couldn't help but shook his head when he saw Luo Ruiying still planning to let the assassins in black go. The lady is still too kind. If it were him, he would simply and brutally do it to everyone. If we let these people go, there will inevitably be new troubles in the future. Although there is no threat no matter how many mosquitoes there are, it is nothing more than a few more slaps, but mosquitoes lingering around your ears will eventually become annoying. Luo Hongye looked at Luo Ruiying, who was surrounded, raised her little head and looked at Ning Yechen and asked worriedly. Dad, are those bad guys going to bully Mom? Ning Yechen rubbed Luo Hongye's head and said with a smile. Don't worry every night, those bad guys can't bully your mother. The men in black reacted, temporarily gave up paying attention to Zhang He on the ground, and quickly pointed their swords at Luo Ruiying. Seeing this, Luo Ruiying sighed softly, then her brows darkened, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. Since they don't leave, you can't blame her. The assassins in black looked at each other, jumped into the air, and slashed at Luo Ruiying with their swords. Luo Ruiying didn't move. The moment a group of black-clothed assassins approached, her figure gracefully drew a graceful arc. A silver full moon arc sword light flashed past. When Luo Ruiying put away the fairy sword, a group of black-clothed assassins bloomed with blood flowers in midair at the same time, and fell to the ground one after another. Ning Yechen, who was hiding aside, had already raised his hand to cover Luo Hongye's sight. This bloody scene cannot scare his daughter. If my wife knew about it, she would definitely be angry. With her eyes covered, Luo Hongye turned her head and expressed confusion. Dad, your hand is blocking Yi. I can't see you every night. Yay, Daddy will play a little game with you now. Close your eyes every night, and compete with Daddy to see who can open your eyes last, okay? Ning Yechen coaxed Luo Hongye with a smile. Okay. Dad, did you close your eyes too? When Luo Hongye heard that it was to play games with her, she didn't have the slightest doubt and took the initiative to close her eyes tightly. Of course, Daddy has closed his eyes. Ning Yechen smiled. But he didn't close his eyes at all. The naive Luo Hongye was completely kept in the dark. The other side, Qi Yuan stared at Luo Ruiying's heroic figure in stunned silence, his eyes full of admiration for her gorgeous and graceful figure and her powerful strength. Okay, so awesome. With just one sword strike, she killed several martial spirit realm masters. And she looks so beautiful. As both women, Qi Yuan felt deeply ashamed when compared with Luo Ruiying in terms of appearance and cultivation. After Luo Ruiying put away the fairy sword, she slowly walked to Qi Yuan, bowed and stretched out her palm. Are you okay? No, it's okay. Thank you sister for helping me. Qi Yuan took Luo Ruiying's hand and stood up and said gratefully. Sister. Luo Ruiying was a little confused when she heard this title. She is not young. It's okay to be her grandmother. Seeing Luo Ruiying's stunned expression, Qi Yuan quickly waved her hand and apologized. Sorry, did I offend you? Seeing how young and beautiful Luo Ruiying was, she subconsciously blurted out her name as sister. Now I feel that this is too close. The other party doesn't know her, so it would be rude to call her sister rashly. Luo Ruiying smiled slightly and shook her head slowly. It doesn't matter. It's just a title. Then, can I continue to call you sister? Qi Yuan asked expectantly. Luo Ruiying did not refuse and nodded slightly. Very good. May I ask what your sister's name is? Qi Yuan danced happily, holding Luo Ruiying's hand and asked. My name is Luo Ruiying. Luo Ruiying said lightly. Is Sister Luo going to Nanli capital too? Qi Yuan turned her beautiful eyes and asked. The nearest and most famous city here is Nanli City. Usually those who appear around here are rushing to Nanli capital. Luo Ruiying was also planning to find a town to live in seclusion, so she nodded along with Qi Yuan's words. Well, my husband, I and our children are preparing to head to Nanli capital. Husband, children, Sister Luo, are you married? When Qi Yuan heard this, he opened his mouth in surprise. Looking at Luo Ruiying's appearance, she could never guess that she was already a woman. However, as a monk, it is indeed difficult to judge age by appearance. But which man would be so lucky to marry a woman as stunning as Sister Luo? Luo Ruiying's cheeks were slightly red and she nodded again with a smile. This was the first time she admitted the fact that she was a woman in front of others. Just when Qi Yuan was about to continue asking, there was a sudden movement in the trees behind Luo Ruiying. Qi Yuan immediately frowned and held the sword in his hand vigilantly. Luo Ruiying also turned around. However, she had already sensed the person coming and did not make any move. Ning Yechen was seen slowly walking out of the bushes with Luo Hongye in his arms, a charming smile on his face. Madam, I haven't seen you back for a long time. My husband was worried about you, so he brought Yi here. Qi Yuan looked at Ning Yechen who suddenly appeared, and was fascinated by it. Her initial caution was completely forgotten at this moment. She has never seen such a handsome man. He has a gentle and friendly smile on his face, and he has a calm and elegant temperament that is elegant and elegant, yet calm in everything he does. At first glance, he seems to be a very gentle person. Qi Yuan originally thought that which man was lucky enough to win Luo Ruiying's heart. The moment I met Ning Yechen, I suddenly felt that they were truly a match made in heaven. Standing together and taking a closer look, I can't help but feel that they are like a couple. Why did you bring Yi here? When Luo Ruiying saw Ning Yechen coming with her child in her arms, she glared at Ning Yechen reproachfully. With a wave of his arm, he quickly covered all the corpses around him. Children cannot see this scene. Luo Ruiying reached out and hugged Luo Hongye from Ning Yechen's arms. Seeing that her eyes were tightly closed, she breathed a sigh of relief. Yay, you can open your eyes. No, mother. Why? Luo Ruiying said in confusion. Every night, I play a game with my dad, to see who can open his eyes later. Luo Hongye said seriously. Upon hearing this, Luo Ruiying knew that it must be Ning Yechen's trick to coax Luo Hongye to close her eyes, and rolled her eyes at Ning Yechen again. That guy must have never closed his eyes from beginning to end. Fortunately, the children were not allowed to see the bloody scenes. You can open your eyes every night. Your father has already lost. Really, that's Yi winning. Luo Hongye opened her eyes and raised her hands happily. Suddenly she saw Qi Yuan next to Luo Ruiying, staring directly at her, and then quickly and timidly retracted into Luo Ruiying's arms. Don't be afraid Ye, she is not a bad person. Luo Ruiying gently stroked Luo Hongye's back, turned her head and apologized to Qi Yuan. Sorry, she's a little scared of strangers every night. No, it's okay. It seems like I scared her. Qi Yuan quickly looked away and apologized. She didn't mean to scare Luo Hongye, but she just couldn't help it. Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen already amazed her. She didn't expect that even their children were so cute. It's as delicate and charming as a ceramic doll. She couldn't help but take another look. Sister Luo, Uncle Zhang and I are also going back to Nanli City, why don't we go together? There is our abandoned carriage not far ahead. As a thank you, let me give you a ride. While Qi Yuan helped Zhang He, who was seriously injured on the ground, he turned back and said to Luo Ruiying. Luo Ruiying thought for a while and did not refuse. It's not far from Nanli City. In order not to attract attention, it would be better to take a carriage there. Nanli City was a city built on the border of Xuanchen Kingdom from the Monster Realm Forest. It was originally used to resist the attacks of monsters on the border. Even though it is a border town, the prosperity and geographical area of Nanli City are no less than that of the capital of Xuanchen Kingdom. It is not an exaggeration to even say that it is above the capital. There are countless monsters living in the monster forest, and there are nearly 100 monster kings alone. Among them, there are countless monsters and beasts, big and small, and all kinds of celestial beings and elixirs are scattered all over the mountains and plains, and the cultivation resources are particularly abundant. It is a place of trial for countless monks, and it is also the best place for monks to obtain materials from monsters and collect fairy herbs and elixirs. Naturally, it attracted countless monks to yearn for it and gathered a large number of monks. The rich sales of monster materials and fairy grass elixirs also attracted many traders to settle here. With the flow of business and trade, Nanli City has become increasingly prosperous. Whether they are mortals or monks, many people have settled here. The Qi family where Qi Yuan lives is one of the first two major merchant families to arrive in Nanli City. In the carriage, after learning that neither Ning Yechen nor Luo Ruiying was from the Xuanchen country, Qi Yuan eloquently explained to Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen about Nanli City and her Qi family. He looked proud when he spoke, but when he mentioned the Qi family, his expression turned gloomy. Just at this time, the carriage stopped, and Zhang He's voice came from outside the carriage tent. "Miss, we have arrived. Sister Luo, we are here. This is Nanli City." Qi Yuan smiled slightly, covering his dejected expression, stood up and opened the curtain. The carriages were lined up outside the gate of Nanli City, and the bustling crowd could be seen outside the curtain. The dense crowds lined up to enter Nanli City, which proved that what Qi Yuan said was true. Nanli City is indeed quite prosperous. Many monks flew past the carriage and flew directly over the city gate into the city. Ning Yechen's carriage quickly passed through the city gate and entered the city. As soon as you enter the streets of Chengdu, you can hear all kinds of sounds of shouting and selling. Noisy people are coming and going on the streets, and the scene is extremely bustling and lively. Luo Hongye was attracted by the noisy sounds outside the carriage and lay in Luo Ruiying's arms, looking around curiously through the car window with her big eyes. She had been either hidden or locked up. She had never seen so many people and such lively scenery before. She looked around blankly and said in a timid voice, "Mom, Dad, there are so many people." "Yes, Mother, would you like to take Yi for a walk?" Luo Ruiying smiled slightly and caressed Luo Hongye's head lovingly. Thinking about it carefully, she has never taken Luo Hongye to see the outside world. Luo Hongye nodded happily. "Thank you very much, Miss Qi, for sending me off. Since we have arrived in the city, let's take our leave first." Luo Ruiying picked up Luo Hongye and stood up to say goodbye to Qi Yuan. "Sister Luo, won't you come and sit at my house? I'm so grateful for your help." Qi Yuan looked forward to it and asked quickly. Luo Ruiying shook her head and declined. "Thank you very much, Miss Qi, for your kindness. We are going to live in the city temporarily, and we have to take the children to choose a place to live, so we won't bother you." "That's just right. I am very familiar with the residences in Nanli City. Let me lead you, Sister Luo. By the way, I would like to introduce to Sister Luo the local characteristics of Nanli City." Qi Yuan clapped his hands and said with a smile. Ning Yechen narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Qi Yuan secretly. "This little girl is very enthusiastic." Luo Ruiying thought carefully for a moment, and finally nodded and agreed to let Qi Yuan accompany her. Having a guide who is familiar with the route can often save a lot of effort. When Qi Yuan saw the agreement, she looked happy and asked Zhang He to leave first. Zhang He looked embarrassed at first, but he still nodded and agreed. After Ning Yechen and others got off the carriage, Zhang He drove back to Qi's house alone. "Come on, Sister Luo, I'll take you for a walk first. There is no place in Nanli capital that I don't recognize." Qi Yuan patted her flat chest and assured confidently. Luo Ruiying followed Qi Yuan with Luo Hongye and Ning Yechen in her arms. Along the way, countless pairs of eyes were fixed on Luo Ruiying. Luo Ruiying, who has an unparalleled figure and stunning appearance, is a dazzling and beautiful scenery when she walks on the street holding Luo Hongye. What a stunning woman! With such a beautiful face, there are probably few women in the world who can compare with her. Tisk, 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 this earthly temperament must be that of a fairy from heaven. The girl in her arms is so delicate and cute. Could it be her daughter? No way. Then the man beside her can't be her husband. I cannot accept. How can that boy hold such a beautiful woman in his arms? Isn't he just more handsome than me? Everyone was aggrieved and expressed deep regret. There were also a few people who boldly teased Luo Ruiying with their narrowed eyes. Luo Ruiying was also merciless, and the cold aura bloomed from her brows, shocking those people to vomit blood and fall to the ground. In an instant, everyone knew that this stunningly beautiful woman was a highly skilled monk. No one dares to tease anyone anymore. Qi Yuan looked at Luo Ruiying with admiration and continued to lead everyone through the streets. Something strange happened around the street that caught everyone's attention. Whether it was many monks or mortals sitting around in the inn, almost without exception they were talking about one thing. Everyone's expressions were particularly solemn, and they were talking quietly. Do you know, the four most proud sects in the world, the Confucian Palace, the Martial Arts Temple, the Human Puppet Ghost Cave, and the Qingfeng Sword Sect, were all moved to the ground overnight. Who doesn't know this? The news has spread throughout the 18 states. Who on earth can have the ability to destroy the four major sects overnight? It's really terrifying. I heard that the four sect leaders also happened to have left the sect, and there is no news yet. Everyone around was talking constantly, and the discussion was particularly intense. This incident suddenly shocked the whole world. There was no trace of the person behind the scenes, and the whole thing became an unknown mystery. Everyone in the world talks about his change of expression. Qi Yuan has been in the demon realm forest for the past few days. When he heard the news for the first time, he was instantly shocked and stunned. He couldn't help but exclaimed. The four major sects were destroyed overnight. This is absolutely terrible. Sister Luo, Brother Ning, do you think it's true? If he can really destroy the four major sects overnight, this person's cultivation will be really terrifying. Luo Ruiying nodded in agreement and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. The human world is indeed a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Ning Yechen also nodded in agreement. Yeah, it's terrible. Qi Yuan led Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying across several streets. When passing each street, he enthusiastically explained the main features of the street. This is the busiest commercial street in Nanli City. Here, as long as you have money, you can buy anything. This street can also be regarded as a commercial street. Although it is not as lively as the one just now, the things are more friendly to the people and the prices are relatively low. There is also this place called Tianbao Street. The things sold here are some spiritual weapons, magical herbs, medicinal herbs and some monster materials. If you're lucky, you can occasionally find some monster pets. Because Luo Ruiying had great cultivation, Qi Yuan specially took Luo Ruiying and others to see Tianbao Street. In Nanli City, there is no monk who does not know Tianbao Street. The streets are filled with all kinds of weird and low-level magic weapons, but some of them are damaged or fake. Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying just looked at each other briefly and lost any interest. To them, calling these things garbage is a bit of a compliment. Oh, I asked who this is. It turns out to be the eldest lady of the Qi family. Just as Qi Yuan led Ning Yechen on a stroll down the street, several figures came forward and blocked everyone. The leading man was dressed in rich clothes and carrying various jewelry and magic weapons. He looked like a nouveau riche, with a look of contempt and pride. Behind the man were dozens of followers, and the scene was quite impressive. When the people setting up stalls around saw the man, their expressions suddenly changed and they avoided him. Wherever the man went, everything in front of him or under his feet was kicked away or stepped on, and his behavior was extremely arrogant. But everyone around them just dared to be angry but dared not speak. Even among them there were many monks with extraordinary cultivation who did not dare to say anything. Just because the man in front of me is Zhongli, the eldest son of one of the two major trading houses in Nanli City. The Zhong family now controls nearly 60% of the commercial streets south of the capital, and they have countless monks to please them. The Zhong family even hired many monks to serve as bodyguards, among whom it is said that there are several powerful men above the heavenly spirit realm. It is said that the forces behind it are unfathomable and unimaginably powerful. No one in the entire Nanli city dared to provoke the Zhang family. Zhongli noticed Qi Yuan's figure from a distance. When he saw her appearing on the street, his expression flashed with surprise and shock. She actually came back. Although it was a bit unexpected, Zhongli still smiled contemptuously and walked towards Qi Yuan with a smile on his face. When Qi Yuan saw Zhongli arriving, her pretty face turned gloomy, her expression turned cold, and she said bluntly, "Humph, aren't you disappointed to see me back?" "No, not disappointed at all. It might as well be more interesting this way." Zhongli had no intention of concealing anything. He boldly and indirectly admitted that the assassination was the work of the Zhang family, as if there was nothing you could do to me. Qi Yuan originally thought that Zhongli would at least pretend not to know, but he didn't expect that he would dare to admit it like this. How arrogant! Qi Yuan clenched his fists angrily and wanted to take action, but when he saw the dozens of guards behind Zhongli, he had to grit his teeth and give up unwillingly. Zhongli was sure that Qi Yuan could not do anything to him. His expression became more and more arrogant. He came close to her face and whispered with a sinister smile, "Soon the Qi family will disappear from Nanli City. Miss Qi, why don't you think about how to make a living next time? Yu Tower is recruiting people recently. I can introduce it to Miss Qi. I believe that with the name of Miss Qi, she will definitely become the #1 in Yu Tower." Qi Yuan's face turned pale with anger, and she pressed her palm on the hilt of the long sword at her waist. Dozens of guards behind Zhongli also immediately grasped the sword. "Miss Qi, it is illegal to do something in the city." Zhongli raised his hand to signal the people behind him to put away their weapons, and looked at Qi Yuan with a playful look, not taking her seriously at all. Qi Yuan thought about it again and again, and finally let go of his hand and gave up the idea of drawing the sword. With her strength, she couldn't even defeat a guard behind Zhongli. How could she possibly kill him? That's right. Zhongli smiled proudly and looked at Luo Ruiying, who was holding Luo Hongye behind Qi Yuan. When he walked over, he had already noticed Luo Ruiying's stunning appearance. Taking a closer look, I couldn't help but be amazed. This girl is so beautiful and fragrant. Zhongli ignored Ning Yechen, who was beside Luo Ruiying, walked directly to her, pretended to be polite and asked with a smile, "This girl looks unfamiliar, as if you haven't seen her in Nanli before. I wonder what the girl's name is. I am Zhongli, the son of the Zhang family from Nanli City. I am not talented. I have quite a financial position in the Nanli capital. If I am honored, I would like to make acquaintance with a girl." Ning Yechen stood aside, frowning slightly. In my heart, I resisted the urge to slap him to death. His grandma's digging him in front of his face. If it weren't for the fact that Luo Ruiying was by his side and worried about being noticed by her, he would have lost his soul now. "Roll," Luo Ruiying said to Zhongli coldly and unceremoniously. From the first sight, she was extremely disgusted with Zhongli, a dandy who bullied others and was greedy for beauty. Zhongli's expression was weak, the corners of his eyes were darkened, and he couldn't hide the lustful look in his eyes. He didn't know how many women had been defeated by him. If she hadn't wanted to live a quiet life in seclusion with her husband and children in Nanli City, and not want to cause additional trouble, she would have almost been tempted to kill him. Zhongli was stunned at first by Luo Ruiying's cold words in front of everyone, and then smiled with disdain. He wasn't angry at all. It's not like he has never seen an arrogant woman like Luo Ruiying. He has also encountered women who are more fierce than her. However, those women were just like her. When they first came to Nanli City, they didn't know his methods or the power of the Zhang family. Once they saw what he was capable of, wouldn't those women just lie on his bed obediently and let him do what he wanted? Qi Yuan on the side saw Zhongli talking to Luo Ruiying with a squinting look, and knew that this guy must have bad intentions. He immediately blocked Luo Ruiying and yelled at Zhongli, "Zhongli, don't even think about taking action against Sister Luo. Sister Luo already has a husband and a child, so don't be wishful thinking. Get out of here, husband and children." Zhongli looked at Luo Hongye in Luo Ruiying's arms, then turned to look at Ning Yechen aside, his expression still full of disdain. "Just this pretty boy. Ning Yechen, hold back. Hold it." Ning Yechen's palm behind her back could hardly hold back and swatted this fly to death. For an unknown amount of time, the immortal emperor did not dare to speak to him like this in front of him. Luo Rying's beautiful eyebrows were slightly condensed, her pretty face turned cold. She hugged Luo Hongye and stood in front of Ning Yechen, saying coldly, "My husband is not something you can humiliate." After saying that, Luo Ruiying released a powerful aura and swept towards Zhongli and the others. Zhongli and everyone were shocked. In an instant, they felt that the spiritual pressure was completely unstoppable to them. The powerful and terrifying pressure directly knocked Zhongli and the others to the ground. Just when Luo Ruiying was about to teach Zhongli a profound lesson, a figure suddenly leapt out from nowhere and blocked Zhongli's group. It was an old man with gray hair and eagle eyes and hooked nose. The old man stretched out a pair of withered palms to block Luo Ruiying's aura. He stepped back several steps and was almost knocked to the ground. What a powerful pressure! This girl looks young, and her cultivation is at least as strong as him in the immortal realm. Maybe even above him. My boy didn't mean to offend this girl. I hope this girl won't mind you. I, the Zhang family, will definitely pay a visit someday with generous gifts. Zhao Zuohao raised his hands and said politely to Luo Ruiying. Because he predicts that Luo Ruiying's cultivation strength is higher than his, and he may not be a match for the girl in front of him. Luo Ruiying frowned slightly, put away her aura, and said calmly, "Are you his protector?" Guardians, as the name suggests, are generally personal guards specially assigned by some large families for the safety of their outstanding heirs. Guardians usually hide around the target to protect them. Once the target is in danger, they will appear. Luo Ruiying just didn't expect that a scum like Zhongli could be equipped with a protector. It seems that the Zhang family is indeed quite powerful. Zhao Zuohao nodded and admitted his identity as a protector. "Mr. Zhao, we can't just let this matter go. Hurry, master, catch her." He was so frightened that his legs weakened and he fell to the ground. Zhongli became angry and pointed at Luo Ruiying and ordered. He had never suffered such humiliation before in Nanli City. "Master, the master of the house is waiting for you to return." The master of the house has been kept waiting for a long time, and he is going to be angry again. Zhao Zuohao turned around and persuaded Zhongli. He was very aware of his young master's character and would never let it go, so he whispered into his ear again. "Master, that woman is difficult to deal with. If you like it, I will find a way to get it for you in the future. Forget it for today." Zhongli looked at Luo Ruiying with a sinister expression, unwilling to give up just now. But when he heard that Zhao Zuohao promised to get this woman over in the future, Zhongli couldn't help but look forward to it, and he licked the corners of his mouth. Forget it, let's spare this woman this time. When it falls into his hands, he wants her to look good. Let's go. Zhongli climbed up and shouted angrily to the guards behind him. When leaving, he glanced at Luo Ruiying with a little extra meaning. "Wife, that would be more flavorful." Zhao Zuohao showed an apologetic smile to Luo Ruiying, and then left everyone's sight. "I'm sorry, Sister Luo, Brother Ning, I have made you unhappy." Qi Yuan bowed and apologized to Luo Ruiying. Zhongli was obviously here to target her. If she hadn't insisted on following him, Luo Ruiying and the others wouldn't have been entangled. Although Luo Ruiying felt helpless, she still shook her head and said it didn't matter. If she hadn't taken Luo Hongye and Ning Yechen into consideration and looked at Zhongli with that dirty look, she would have killed him directly. If things can just go by like this, then forget it. If he dares to offend again, she will no longer show mercy. Let's go too. Luo Ruiying turned to greet Ning Yechen. As a result, she saw Ning Yechen looking at her with a silly smile. "You, what's wrong with you?" Luo Ruiying asked in shock. "It's okay for my husband, I'm just glad that you are finally willing to call me husband again." Ning Yechen leaned close to Luo Ruiying's face and smiled. "I was very angry just now, but when I heard Luo Ruiying's words, my husband is not something you can humiliate, I suddenly felt happy." This is the second time Luo Ruiying calls him by her husband's nickname since she asked him to take the children and run away last time. Luo Ruiying couldn't help but blush when she thought of what she just said. She was just angry that Zhongli called Ning Yechen a pretty boy, and blurted it out in a fit of anger. Looking back now, I feel a little embarrassed. But between husband and wife, this is considered a normal title. Is this guy so happy just because of a word? Qi Yuan on the side stared blankly at Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying, who were looking at each other, and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. The relationship between Sister Luo and her husband is so good. That's why this feeling seems a little green. Obviously he even has children. Can I call you husband like I did just now? Ning Yechen stuck to Luo Rying's side and asked with a smile. Luo Rying's cheeks were as bright as red clouds, and she murmured softly. Yes, I will try it if I have a chance in the future. She still feels a little embarrassed to have her call Ning Yechen by the same name as her husband. But seeing how happy Ning Yechen was, she couldn't refuse, so she shyly postponed it until later. When she gets used to it, she will naturally change her tune. Ning Yechen smiled slightly. Although he was a little regretful, he was not in a hurry. He took Luo Rying's hand and continued walking towards the street. Don't worry, the days are long. Luo Ruiying held the child in one hand and allowed Ning Yechen to hold her hand in the other. The scene was particularly warm for the family of three. Qi Yuan, who was walking behind him, was embarrassed to come up to him for a moment. Doesn't she seem a bit redundant here? As Ning Yechen, Luo Ruiying and their group walked through the street, they passed by three figures wearing bamboo hats. Three figures sat in front of the stall eating with their backs to Ning Yechen and his group. When Ning Yechen and his party walked by, the faces of the three demon kings of the demon forest were revealed under the bamboo hats. Yes, they are the three chaos demonic cows who followed Ning Yechen. The three of them have been quietly following Ning Yechen, waiting for his instructions. They also saw everything that just happened. When they saw Zhongli being rude to Luo Ruiying and even dared to call them little pretty face, the three of them were frightened crazy. I'm really worried that the adults will be angry and flatten Nanli City. The heaven-swallowing divine python pretended to be eating something in its hands. Instead of looking at Ning Yechen, it directly sent a message to Ning Yechen and asked coldly. Sir, do you need me to kill all those who offended you just now? The one who told Zhongli not to kill him was to destroy his third leg. Kill all the others. Remember not to make too much noise and don't disturb me and my wife and children while we are shopping. Ning Yechen's eyes narrowed slightly and he replied lightly. It seemed as if he was told a very common thing. After receiving the order, the three heaven-swallowing divine pythons stood up from the stall silently and walked in the direction of Zhongli and his party. Everyone in the heaven-swallowing divine python was wondering why the master only wanted to cripple the man's third leg instead of killing him. Thinking carefully about the possibility that the adults would take action himself, one could not help but begin to sympathize with Zhongli. If you die in their hands, you can at least have a happy life. In the hands of that adult, that may not be the case. Chapter 41. On the way back to Yang's house, Zhongli had a gloomy face, frowning, and full of dissatisfaction. He has never felt so aggrieved since he was a child. Even if he was intimidated by a woman, there was nothing he could do against her for the time being. Oh shit. The more Zhongli thought about it, the angrier he became. At just this moment, a ball rolled down to his feet. Zhongli looked up and saw a delicate little girl running to his feet, trying to reach out and pick up the ball on the ground. Does this young master allow you to take it? Zhongli stepped on the ball, frowned and said coldly to the little girl. The little girl was so scared that she froze on the spot and was at a loss. She mustered up the courage to timidly point to the ball at her feet and said, Big brother, this is my ball. Can you give it back to me? Your balls, humph, do you know that your balls have soiled my shoes? Yang's voice was fierce and he stomped the ball hard, then slapped the little girl mercilessly on the face. He just happened to be angry. Just take it out on this reckless girl. The little girl flew backwards several meters away. Her whole face was red and swollen and her mouth and nose were bleeding. She could only lie on the ground crying and whimpering. Ooh, mother, mother. Zhongli seemed to be still angry and strode towards the little girl. The guards behind him were still showing ridicule and flattery on their faces. Young master is good at palm skills. I'm afraid his cultivation has improved a lot. Of course, that is our young master of the Zhang family, he is extremely talented. Nan Li Chengdu, no, the best person in the world. When everyone around saw Zhongli being so cruel to a little girl, they were all aggrieved and couldn't bear it. He clenched his fists tightly, but there was nothing he could do. It's hard to believe that a monk would be proud to bully a little girl. Although Zhongli's cultivation level is very poor, if the little girl is not treated in time after that slap, her life may be in danger. What a beast! Zhang Li enjoyed the awe of the people around him and the horses of the guards behind him. He proudly stood in front of the little girl with his head held high and his feet raised high. Seeing that Zhang Li didn't seem to give up, and really wanted to put this little girl to death, a girl in green and white clothes couldn't help but hold her hand on the handle of the knife at her waist, stood up and wanted to step forward to stop her, but was stopped by someone on the side. Partner holds down. Su Yi, don't be impulsive. He is Zhang Li from the Zhang family. Even if we are at Nanli College, it is difficult to provoke the Zhang family. The power behind the Zhang family is huge. Are we going to watch that scumbag kill that little girl like this? Su Yi retorted to his companion beside him. If, as a monk, you can't even save lives and heal the wounded, or correct the path, then what's the point of practicing this? Her companion was speechless by what she said and was unable to refute. While Su Yi was arguing with his companions, a woman quickly ran to Zhang Li's feet, knelt in front of him and protected the child in her arms, crying and begging. Master Zhang, the child is ignorant and has offended you unintentionally. Please be merciful and let her go. Zhang Li frowned and was about to kick the woman away, but found that the woman's face was still charming and pretty, with a lewd smile on her face. He then changed his mind. Zhang Li bent down and came close to the woman. His lustful eyes wandered over the woman's body, and he smiled evilly. You can ask me to let her go, but it depends on your sincerity. Sincerity, the woman murmured in confusion. Her family was not wealthy, so there was no way she had any money or money that would attract Zhang Li's attention. Until Zhang Lixi's lewd voice whispered in her ears, the woman's face turned pale instantly. Madam, you will do anything for the sake of the child, right? He originally had no interest in married women, and looked down on second-hand goods, let alone such a woman who was only somewhat beautiful. But when he thought of Luo Ruiying, whom he had just met, he couldn't help but feel restless, and suddenly he wanted to try the taste of a married woman. The woman stood there in despair, not knowing what to do for a moment. Ordinary families like them can't resist the Zhang family's power. Seeing that the woman didn't answer, Zhang Li simply grabbed the woman and tried to drag her away. At this time, the middle-aged man who was the father of the child rushed over after hearing the news. His clothes were shabby and his hands were thick and calloused. He looked like a farm worker. When the man saw his daughter on the ground, he burst into tears. When he saw Zhang Li dragging his wife, he immediately ran over and knelt down to beg for mercy. Master Zhang, please let the mother and daughter go. They did something wrong. If you want to punish them, then punish me. Go away. Don't disturb my young master's interest. I will return it to you when I'm done using it. Zhang Li kicked the middle-aged man away and forced the woman to take her away. Su Yi on the side couldn't stand it any longer. He pulled out his long sword and was about to step forward to stop Zhang Li. And the moment Su Yi just pulled out the long sword, a ghostly figure shuttled past the guards behind Zhang Li at an extremely fast speed. Did something pass by them just now? All the guards looked confused, and the next second, their entire bodies burst open along the cracks and were cut into several pieces. Blood spurted out instantly, and blood flowers fell like rain. Everyone was stunned on the spot, no one knew what happened. In just one moment, dozens of Zhang Li's guards were all killed. Ah, kill, kill. The onlookers were so frightened that they immediately ran away. Su Yi and others were also dumbfounded and confused. When they turned around, they saw a figure wearing a bamboo hat and a graceful snake waist, standing in the blood rain with a winding snake sword in his hand. This person is so strong. The first reaction was that Su Yi and others were inexplicably deeply afraid of this person. They couldn't even catch this person. The heaven-swallowing divine python held the fairy sword and slowly walked towards Zhang Li step by step. Zhang Li was so frightened that he fell to the ground and shouted around. Zhao, Mr. Zhao, help me. Zhao Zuihao jumped out and stood in front of Zhang Li. He stared at the mysterious woman in front of him with a frightened expression and said, May I ask who you are? Why did you attack my Zhang family? Zhao Zuihao had cold sweat streaming down his forehead, his eyes fixed on the heaven-swallowing divine python. At this moment he felt unprecedented fear. This fear is even far greater than that of Luo Ruiying whom I just met. He had been watching Zhang Li secretly, but he didn't see the man in front of him take action. Before she even had time to react, everyone died under her sword. Being able to achieve this level shows that the other party's cultivation strength is far superior to his. You must know that he is a cultivator in the immortal realm, and he is one of the best monks in the entire Nanzhou. The heaven-swallowing divine python was too lazy to talk nonsense to Zhao Zuohao. His cold snake eyes condensed and he coldly sentenced him to death. My lord has an order, you must die. Sir. Who is your adult? Why do you want to attack my Zhang family for no reason? Zhao Zuohao asked with raised eyebrows. He thought for a long time, but he didn't expect who would take action against the Zhang family. Although the Zhang family has made many enemies, in my impression, they don't seem to be able to recruit anyone with such a strong cultivation level. You alone deserve to know my lord's name. The sky-swallowing divine python's expression condensed, and a terrifying murderous intention bloomed from his body. Zhao Zuohao's heart trembled, and his hands secretly made secret movements. Although he may not be the opponent of the person in front of him, this is Nanli City, where countless monks gather. As long as you can delay it for a little while, wait until support arrives. This may not be difficult. Zhao Zuohao was thinking about how to deal with the sky-swallowing divine python. The next second, a strong big hand suddenly pinched his entire head from behind. Zhao Zuohao was stunned for a moment. Before he could react, his head exploded like a watermelon with a pop. Blood spattered out and landed on Zhongli's body and face, who was slumped on the ground. So much bullshit. I'm tired of hearing this. The chaos demonic bull threw Zhao Zuohao's body aside and wiped his hands in disgust. Su Yi and others around him were completely dumbfounded. Zhao Zuohao and the others also heard about it. That is a real powerful person from the immortal realm. But the strong man behind him didn't even notice when he arrived and was crushed to death with a palm. It's as easy as squeezing an ant to death. Zhongli looked up at the solid body of the chaos demonic bull, his eyes full of fear, and he was completely too scared to move. His biggest supporter, Zhao Zuohao, was dead. Without Zhao Zuohao, he no longer looked as arrogant and domineering as before. He was completely like a helpless and weak wretch, trembling. The chaos demonic cow lowered his head and looked at Zhongli at his feet, showing a strange smile. It's your turn. I remember that my lord specifically asked you to be treated specially. Spare my life. Come on, save me. Zhong looked at Su Yi and others with a sharp voice and cried. A yellow liquid flowed out from under him. Su Yi's companions were all stunned on the spot, subconsciously grabbing the weapons at their waists, but no one dared to draw their swords and step forward. Because they all know that they can kill the monks in the immortal realm with one blow, and the two people in front of them are definitely not something they can resist. Only Su Yi mustered up the courage to draw his sword and jump out. Nanli College also has the responsibility to govern the capital of Nanli. Although she really wants Zhongli to die, if she just watches him let the murderer kill him, it will damage the name of Nanli College. As a student of Nanli College, she cannot sit idly by and watch. Just when Su Yi drew his sword and jumped out, another figure suddenly descended from the sky and blocked her. The other party was also wearing a hat, and he struck very quickly, grabbing her neck. Even though Su Yi struggled desperately, he couldn't do anything to the other party. Even a long sword can't pierce the opponent's body. Su Yi was secretly shocked, feeling even more suffocated and desperate. Who is the other party? Is she going to die here today? My lord said, don't make too much noise. It will affect adults. If it's not the target, don't kill it. The sky-swallowing divine python warned the titan ape who was about to attack. Only then did the titan giant ape remember Ning Yechen's instructions and threw Su Yi out without killing him. When the sky-swallowing divine python walked toward Zhongli, the woman and the middle-aged man sat on the ground holding their children tightly, looking at her with fearful expressions. The heaven-swallowing divine python ignored the three of them and came straight to Zhongli. Please let me go. How much does that person pay to hire you? I pay 10 times. No, it's 20 times, 100 times. Seeing that no one dared to come forward to help him, Zhongli was so frightened that he repeatedly begged for mercy and tried to bribe the three of them. The heaven-swallowing divine python glanced at Zhongli coldly and said calmly. Do it. Okay. The chaos demonic bull stepped heavily on Zhongli's feet. With a click, Zhongli's legs were crushed to pieces. Ah! The bones of his feet were broken and shattered, and the severe pain caused Zhongli to scream like a slaughtered pig. The screams and cries were mixed together, making it sound particularly miserable. My lord asked you to cripple his third leg, not his legs. The heaven-swallowing divine python rolled his eyes helplessly at the chaos demonic bull and said, "Yeah, he, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'll do it again." The chaos demonic bull raised its big foot again and stepped on Zhongli's crotch accurately. A deep footwell was instantly left on the ground between Zhongli's crotch. This time Zhongli didn't even scream. His face turned pale and he passed out on the spot, with blood flowing from his crotch. Mission accomplished, let's go. The heaven-swallowing divine python glanced at Zhongli, who was unconscious, and said to the chaos demonic ox and the titan giant ape. The three of them turned into black shadows and disappeared without a trace. After hearing the commotion, the city guards and a group of monks arrived belatedly. When they arrived, the scene was bloody and horrific. After a while, the city was on alert, and the entire Nanli city was in panic. Countless city guards and monks were chasing the murderer, but no one could find any trace of those three people. Soon after, inside the Zhang family mansion, the unconscious Zhongli was carried back to the Zhang family's mansion. When the head of the Zhang family, Zhang Zhen, saw Zhongli lying half dead in front of him, he instantly trembled with anger. He pointed at Zhongli with sinister eyes and asked angrily, "Who did it? Who dares to hurt my precious son like this? Who is it?" He was the only son in the Zhang family, Zhongli, and he always loved him very much and was never willing to beat or scold him. Now, his legs have been broken and his lifeblood has been crushed. This is to make him the Zhang family's successor. Zhang Zhen's roar made the surrounding attendants tremble, and they all lowered their heads, daring not to say a word. Seeing that none of the attendants responded, Zhang Zhen angrily continued to roar at everyone. "A bunch of trash. What's the use of raising you? Look, find the murderer quickly. Even if you have to dig through the entire Nanli capital, you have to find it for me." Yes, all the attendants hurriedly left in front of Zhang Zhen. After everyone left, a man with a feminine face wearing a white lotus robe slowly walked out of the hall. Being able to defeat Mr. Zhao from the immortal realm shows that he is definitely not an ordinary person. Even if you, Master Zhang, turn this Nanli city upside down, I'm afraid you won't be able to find anything. Lord Holy Envoy. When Zhang Zhen saw the visitor, he had to put away his anger and greeted the man respectfully. Then he asked with an unwilling expression, "Does the Holy Envoy want me to let the murderer go like this?" "Of course not. I just want the head of the Zhang family to focus on the mission of the church. After the Battle of the Chamber of Commerce is over and the Zhang family takes control of the entire Nanli city, I will definitely report your achievements to the leader of the Zhang family and ask the leader to take action for you," Chen Ru said with a slight smile. Zhang Zhen thought for a moment, and finally had no choice but to sigh reluctantly, with a flash of stern look on his face and replied, "It will not be a problem for the Holy Envoy to be present in this Chamber of Commerce battle. When the Zhang family takes control of Nanli City, they will definitely do their best to assist the Holy Lotus sect. I hope that after the incident is completed, the church will avenge my son." On the other side, going around in circles, Qi Yuan led Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying through a different alleyway. Both sides of the street are filled with all kinds of snacks and food, and the mixed fragrance almost fills the entire street, and the aroma is permeating. The streets were also filled with bustling crowds, especially those with wives and children. This is the most bustling food street in Nanli capital. In addition to the unique delicacies of Xuanqin, there are also delicacies from other countries. Qi Yuan walked in front and introduced Ning Yechen and others. I thought that powerful monks like Luo Ruiying and the others might not be too interested in these snacks and delicacies. As a result, Luo Ruiying slowed down after arriving at the food court. Luo Ruiying, who was born in the fairy world since she was a child, ate fairy fruit spirits and drank spiritual springs. She had almost never seen these snacks in the human world. Because people in the immortal world never need to cook to fill their stomachs like mortals, and rely entirely on absorbing the spirit of heaven and earth to nourish their bodies. Even young children born in the fairy world only need to eat the fairy fruit spirit liquid. Luo Hongye, who was lying in Luo Ruiying's arms, kept looking around curiously with her big bright eyes, and her saliva was almost flowing from the corner of her mouth. When passing by a stall with fruit candies, Luo Hongye stared at it intently, and her little mouth opened wide inadvertently. When Ning Yechen saw this, he smiled fondly, walked to the stall and raised 2 fingers. "Boss, please give me 2 skewers." "Okay." The stall owner responded with a smile, immediately picked up 2 bunches of fruit candies and handed them to Ning Yechen, without forgetting to praise. "Sir, you are so lucky. My wife and child are as beautiful as flowers." "Right, I also feel very lucky to have such a beautiful wife and lovely children." The stall owner's sincere congratulations made Ning Yechen very happy. His proud nose turned up high, and he felt so happy that he simply bought everything from the stall owner. Luo Ruiying behind her couldn't help but blush slightly and glance at Ning Yechen. When someone compliments you, you happily buy everything from their stall. "Come on, let's eat it every night." Ning Yechen held a large bunch of candies and handed one of the fruit candies to Luo Hongye. The so-called fruit candy is a string of fruit cut into pieces and then coated with a layer of syrup to solidify the sugar string. Luo Hongye's big eyes almost said she wanted it, but she still turned her head to look at Luo Ruiying and asked Nuo. "Mom, can you eat it every night? Your father bought it specially for you, eat it." How could Luo Ruiying not see the wanting look on Luo Hongye's face? She nodded and smiled lovingly. In the past, she failed to love her children properly, but now her biggest wish is that her children can live a carefree and happy life. Luo Hongye immediately stretched out her little baby fat hands to take the fruit candy from Ning Yechen's hand, opened her mouth and sucked it in one gulp. Because she was worried that the bamboo stick would prick the child, Luo Ruiying deliberately took the fruit candy from Luo Hongye's hand, removed the candy from the bamboo stick, and fed it into her mouth. Luo Hongye's round little face was filled with a bright and happy smile. Just as Luo Ruiying was feeding Luo Hongye one mouthful at a time, another bunch of fruit candies suddenly reached her mouth. Luo Ruiying raised her eyebrows and saw Ning Yechen holding up another bunch of fruit candies and handing it to her mouth. And he was looking at her with a charming smile. "Madam, this string is for you. Give me." Luo Ruiying was a little embarrassed for a moment. As a former empress of the fairy world, would it be inappropriate for her to eat such mortal snacks? Moreover, Ning Yechen held it in his hand and fed it. Under Ning Yechen's expectant gaze, Luo Ruiying reached out and brushed away a few strands of hair hanging down her face. She blushed slightly and gently opened her red lips to take the fruit candy in her mouth and bite it down. Anyway, no one knows her identity, so it doesn't matter if she is willful. Luo Ruiying's elegant and light movements, and her shy beauty, made Ning Yechen, who was standing in front of her, stare at her for a moment longer, and blurted out her praise. "Madam, you look so beautiful when you eat." "Ahem. What are you talking nonsense about?" When Luo Ruiying heard this, she covered her mouth and choked several times. Beimei glared at Ning Yechen with a charming look. This guy suddenly said something like this, which made her feel embarrassed all of a sudden. "My husband didn't lie. If you don't believe me, just ask Yi Yi." "Yay, does mother look good when she eats?" Ning Yechen smiled and turned to Luo Hongye in Luo Ruiying's arms and asked. "Good looking, mother, it's best to be bored." Luo Hongye smiled and raised her hands, chewing her food and shouting happily. There were many people passing by around the street, and Luo Ruiying suddenly felt even more embarrassed. She glared at Ning Yechen again with blushing cheeks. The father and daughter made her even more embarrassed. Qi Yuan looked on with some embarrassment and envy. The relationship between sister Luo and brother Ning is so good. Only then did Luo Ruiying remember that Qi Yuan was with her. She handed over the fruit candy in her hand with a little embarrassment and asked, "Do you want to eat?" No, thank you, Sister Luo." Qi Yuan waved her hands and shook her head in polite refusal, smiled and looked at Luo Hongye in Luo Ruiying's arms and said, "Xiao Ye, if you like food, I know a lot of other delicious ones, sister. Can my sister buy it for you?" She has never seen a child as delicate, cute, obedient and sensible as Luo Hongye. The moment you see it for the first time, you feel inexplicably attracted to it. Luo Hongye had always only been close to Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen, and was generally insecure and afraid of strangers. When Qi Yuan spoke to her, she also shrank into Luo Ruiying's arms, but when she heard about the delicious food, she couldn't help but glance at Qi Yuan secretly and asked weakly, Really, of course it's true, Sister never lies to cute children. Seeing Luo Hongye's soft and cute look, Qi Yuan's eyes lit up and he said with excitement. She was finally willing to talk to her. Xiao Ye is so cute, I really want to reach out and pinch her chubby little face. I really want to hug her and give her a kiss. Standing aside, Ning Yechen looked at Qi Yuan's excited expression, and suddenly felt that he should be more careful about this girl. It's possible that his child was kidnapped. In the end, Luo Hongye fell for the temptation of Qi Yuan's vivid explanation of how delicious those things were. Luo Ruiying held Luo Hongye and ate on the street. Ning Yechen would buy anything Luo Hongye was curious about without hesitation. Qi Yuan would also take the initiative to buy various snacks and feed them to Luo Hongye. Candied haws, glutinous rice cakes, sesame cakes, tofu puddings, steamed buns. Luo Hongye almost ate through almost the entire food court. The relationship between Qi Yuan and Luo Hongye has also been successfully brought closer. After walking most of the street, the three of them found a stone bench and sat down. It wasn't because he was tired from walking, but because he had too many snacks in his hands, and he was ready to sit down and let Luo Hongye eat slowly. At this time, Luo Hongye was sitting in Luo Ruiying's arms, holding a bun that was bigger than her face, biting it happily. Luo Ruiying helplessly took out her handkerchief and wiped the stains on her mouth. At this moment, there was a loud noise in the distance, and alarm bells rang throughout the city. The guards in the city all galloped away into the distance. Some of the people who escaped panted and explained the situation to the people around them. Just now, 3 mysterious people attacked Zhang Li and his party. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Li and his party were all killed. Only Zhang Li seems to have survived by luck. What? Someone actually dared to attack Zhang Li from the Zhang family in Nanli City. When everyone around heard the news, they were all shocked and dumbfounded. The Zhang family was so powerful in Nanli City that no one could avoid it, and yet someone actually dared to openly assassinate him. Qi Yuan was shocked when he heard the news. There were dozens of guards at the martial spirit realm beside Zhang Li, as well as a protector at the transformation spirit realm, but they were all killed. As far as she knows, there doesn't seem to be anyone with such strength in Nanli City. Qi Yuan was shocked and confused, but then he couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth, revealing a happy smile. Unexpectedly, the Zhang family and Zhang Li would also have this day. It must be that he is usually too arrogant and violent and has offended people he shouldn't have offended. It's really your own fault. Luo Ruiying's expression did not change when she heard the news. She didn't care at all about these things. She just hoped that the turmoil in the city would not disturb the rest of her life. Let's go, it's getting late, it's time to choose a residence. Luo Ruiying picked up Luo Hongye and said to Ning Yechen. We've almost walked around the city, and it's time to choose a suitable residence and settle down. What kind of house do Sister Luo and Brother Ning like? As a guide, Qi Yuan stepped forward and asked. As the daughter of the Kijia Merchant Company in Nanli capital city, she knows all the shops and houses for rent in various parts of the city. There are stewards of her Qi family in various places. As long as Luo Ruiying names the house she likes, she will soon find the right one. Luo Ruiying thought for a while and said, if possible, I would like to find a quieter place. She doesn't have high requirements for her residence. What's important is that she can be together as a family. Qi Yuan thought for a while and quickly found a manager who was responsible for selling the house. The steward took Qi Yuan, Luo Ruiying and others to a house in a relatively peaceful corner of Nanli City. The street in front of the house was empty, with a few sparse trees standing outside the door. There was a gurgling stream behind the yard, and the scenery was quite quiet and pleasant. Pushing open the courtyard door and entering, the courtyard is spacious and bright. In addition to the master bedroom, there are several side rooms, a kitchen and a special independent bathroom in the backyard. The entire courtyard is almost as big as a small mansion. This room is pretty good, but it seems a bit too big. It would be too luxurious for just 3 people to live in. Although the place she lived in the fairy world was many times more spacious and luxurious, now as a woman, she needs to consider many things. It's just a waste of time for a family of 3 to live in such a big house. Not to mention cleaning and maintaining the house is also a hassle. The most important thing is that such a big house should cost a lot of money. Ning Yechen looked around and thought this house was nice. He took Luo Hongye from Luo Rying's arms and asked with a smile. Do you like it here every night? Like it. Yea, I likes the place where mother and father are. Luo Hongye lay in Ning Yechen's arms and smiled happily. Our family is so good every night. Ning Yechen scratched Luo Hongye's nose lovingly, turned to Luo Ruiying and said. Madam, why don't you just stay here? Isn't it too expensive here? Luo Ruiying pulled Ning Yechen aside and asked quietly. Unexpectedly, as the Empress of the fairy world, she would have to worry about money one day. All the fairy rings were taken away when she escaped from the fairy world. Now, except for her cultivation, she basically has nothing. Ning Yechen has never worried about money. Buying the entire Nanli city is just a drop in the bucket for him, let alone this small house. Don't worry, madam. In fact, your husband and I still have a little bit of money. Ning Yechen patted his chest and said with a leisurely and contented expression. This surprised Luo Ruiying slightly. She thought that hunters like Ning Yechen who lived in seclusion in the mountains and forests would be the kind of penniless people. After all, few wealthy people would choose to live in seclusion in the mountains and forests. My wife and I are very satisfied with this steward, just this house. How much does this house cost? Do you dare to ask whether this guest is staying temporarily or intends to buy it directly? The old steward stepped forward with a smile and asked. Buy it, Ning Yechen replied without even thinking about it. Luo Ruiying hurriedly whispered beside Ning Yechen. You don't have to spend too much money to buy it, you can just live there temporarily. The main reason for coming to Nanli City was to avoid the possible pursuit in the future. He might move out soon, so there was no need to waste money on buying the entire house. Don't worry, madam, it won't take much. Ning Yechen comforted him with a smile, feeling very funny in his heart. Is his wife now starting to live a budget-conscious life? She is becoming more and more like a virtuous wife. Guest, if you plan to buy the entire mansion, you will need 2 million taels. The old steward raised 2 fingers and said. Ning Yechen took out a small bag of things from his arms without hesitation and threw it into the hands of the old steward. These should be enough. The old steward opened the bag in confusion, and his eyes suddenly widened. I saw that the bag was filled with all kinds of rare and bright gems. Regardless of color and shape, they are extremely rare in the world. There are many that he has never seen before. The old steward put on glasses specially designed for examining gems, carefully picked up a gem and looked at it repeatedly, his expression becoming more and more shocked. If this pure material were made into jewelry, the price would increase dozens of times. As a person who has worked in Kijia Trading Company for most of his life, he has never seen such perfect gem materials. The value of this small bag is far more than 2 million taels. Qi Yuan also came over. Having grown up in a chamber of commerce, she also knew how to identify the value of some items. When she saw a bag full of gems like this in the old steward's hand, she widened her eyes in shock and glanced at Ning Yechen in surprise. It turns out that Sister Luo's husband is a rich man. Sister Luo, Brother Ning, these gems are enough to pay for this house, but Qi Yuan cannot accept them. Qi Yuan picked up a whole bag of gems and handed it back to Ning Yechen. Sister Luo saved my life. This house should be regarded as my gratitude to Sister Luo for saving my life. How about that? Luo Ruiying wanted to refuse, but Ning Yechen took the lead, narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at Qi Yuan with a smile and asked. If I'm not wrong, Miss Qi actually wants to ask for something. After Qi Yuan saw Luo Rying's cultivation strength, Qi Yuan became very enthusiastic. Although part of it was due to admiration and gratitude, Ning Yechen also saw clues from her sometimes hesitant expression. The reason why Qi Yuan is so enthusiastic seems to be that he wants to ask his wife for something. When Luo Ruiying heard this, she looked at Qi Yuan. Seeing that he had been seen through, Qi Yuan no longer concealed anything, and solemnly bowed to Luo Ruiying and begged. I do have something to ask for. Sister Luo, I want to ask you to save the Qi family. Save the Qi family? Luo Ruiying asked doubtfully. Yes, actually, the Qi family is about to be removed from the Nancheng capital. Qi Yuan lowered her eyebrows and said with a gloomy expression. In a few days, there will be a chamber of commerce competition between the Qi family and the Zhang family. The Chamber of Commerce competition will determine the ownership of the major street chambers of commerce in Nanli City. In the past, the Qi family and the Zhang family each occupied 50% of the street chambers of commerce in the city. However, in recent years, the Zhang family, relying on the power behind them, has begun to expand and forcibly occupied my Qi family's various industries. Today, less than 30% of the street chambers of commerce remain under the jurisdiction of my Qi family. How do you want me to save the Qi family? Luo Ruiying asked. I would like to ask Sister Luo to represent my Qi family in the Chamber of Commerce competition. Qi Yuan pleaded solemnly. Conflicts often occur between chambers of commerce. Once the conflicts expand, it can easily lead to rivers of blood and even massacres. As a result, subsequent chambers of commerce agreed on a new solution to resolve conflicts. That is the Chamber of Commerce competition. If an irreconcilable conflict arises between two chambers of commerce, one party may choose to initiate a Chamber of Commerce competition with the other party. The two chambers of commerce made their own bets and each invited a monk representing their own chamber of commerce to participate in the competition. The losing party must cash in the bet to the winning party. This kind of competition can greatly avoid the situation where chambers of commerce secretly fight each other due to conflicts. This plan was proposed by a group called Jumbo Business Alliance. The Treasure Merchant Alliance is a business alliance formed by the gathering of countless chambers of commerce in the world. It is nominally for the mutual development of business alliances, but it is also responsible for mediating conflicts between chambers of commerce and maintaining the stability of business alliances. In order to ensure the fairness of the competition, when two chambers of commerce initiate a Chamber of Commerce competition, people from the Treasure Chamber of Commerce will usually be present to testify. This Chamber of Commerce competition was proposed to the Zhang family by the Qi family. After years of oppression, the Qi family finally decided to risk everything and challenge the Zhang family to a Chamber of Commerce competition, hoping to take back everything they had. However, the monks who originally agreed to fight for the Qi family either suddenly refused or died in various accidents. After seeing Luo Ruiying's powerful strength, Qi Yuan had the intention to entrust Luo Ruiying. In fact, she didn't want to drag Luo Ruiying into the dispute between the Qi family and the Zhang family. After all, there was another force behind the Zhang family. But she had no choice but to ask Luo Ruiying for help. Okay, I can help you fight on behalf of the Qi family. Luo Ruiying thought for a moment, and finally nodded lightly and agreed. On the one hand, it was as a thank you for taking over the house, and on the other hand, she felt that if people like Zhang Li of the Zhang family were allowed to continue to gain power in the city might not be able to live a stable and happy life. That's why she was willing to help Qi Yuan get through this difficult time. Great, thank you Sister Luo. Qi Yuan bowed and expressed gratitude, and the weight in his heart became much lighter. You are welcome. I just regard it as a reward for taking over this mansion. Luo Ruiying shook her head and said, Sister Luo, I have another request for you. Can you accept me as your apprentice? I can pay you extra. Qi Yuan looked confused for a moment, but still said to Luo Ruiying expectantly. After seeing Luo Ruiying's gorgeous and graceful figure for the first time, she was deeply attracted. Although her family has been in business for generations, she has always had a dream in her heart to practice Taoism. Luo Ruiying didn't expect Qi Yuan to want to become her teacher. After looking at her in surprise, she shook her head slightly apologetically. Sorry, I don't intend to take on a disciple. She chose to live here temporarily just to live a stable life, so she had no intention of taking on a disciple or anything. Besides, she was still being hunted, so she didn't want to involve other people. Okay, sorry to bother Sister Luo. After being rejected, Qi Yuan looked very disappointed. Since she was a child, she has sought out many monks to practice under her tutelage but was rejected without exception. The reason is that she was injured when she was young, and the old injuries remain in her body. Her meridians are damaged and blocked, making it impossible for her to practice effectively. Qi Yuan felt that Luo Ruiying must have seen the problem with her and felt that she must be unable to practice and lacked talent, so she rejected her. Sister Luo, if a person's meridians are damaged, does that mean that person will have no hope of practicing cultivation for the rest of his life? Qi Yuan looked up at Luo Ruiying reluctantly and asked. Luo Ruiying could see who the man was referring to from Qi Yuan's expression. Although she couldn't bear it, she still answered seriously. Meridians are the spiritual path where monks absorb and transfer the spirits of the body and the world. They are the basis of monks' practice. If you can't absorb the spirit of heaven and earth, and if you can't circulate your spiritual power, you can't truly practice. It can be said that the meridians throughout a person's body are equivalent to the paths to becoming an immortal. The more dense and spacious your meridians are, and the smoother they are, the further your spiritual path will go. Really, sure enough, I probably have no chance to practice cultivation in this life. When Qi Yuan heard this, his expression became more and more sad. In fact, she was not too surprised. Because she already knew this statement, she just asked it again to make herself give up completely. Sister Luo, I'll take my leave now. Just as Qi Yuan was about to turn around and leave, Ning Yechen's chuckle sounded from behind. Of course it's impossible to practice cultivation if the meridians are damaged, but wouldn't it be fine as long as the meridians in the body are restored? As soon as these words came out, Qi Yuan froze on the spot, turned around and looked at Ning Yechen in surprise. Of course she understands this. But how many people in the world can restore meridians? She had never even heard of anyone who could restore damaged meridians. And listening to Ning Yechen's words, it seems that he has a way to restore her meridians. Brother Ning, can you help me restore the damaged meridians in my body? Qi Yuan could not help but ignite hope in her heart, and looked at Ning Yechen expectantly. I understand a little bit, Ning Yechen said modestly with his head held high. Luo Ruiying on the side also looked at Ning Yechen in surprise. It turns out that he also has medical skills and can heal damaged meridians. This is an incredible ability. If she had cultivated as an empress, she could easily heal Qi Yuan's old meridians, but now she has no way. But as a mortal, he seems to have a solution. But thinking back carefully, it doesn't seem strange that Ning Yechen would make medicinal porridge and a very effective healing medicinal soup when she was injured. Maybe he really knows something about medicine. Brother Ning, tell me what to do quickly. Do I need to prepare any medicinal ingredients? Qi Yuan couldn't wait to get closer to Ning Yechen and asked eagerly. She had never been so excited. Ning Yechen smiled and shook his head and said, "You don't need to prepare anything. Just come inside with me and take off your clothes. I'll put a few needles in for you." As soon as Ning Yechen said these words, the scene fell silent for a while. Now, Qi Yuan's face instantly turned red with embarrassment, and he lowered his head in embarrassment. Although she knew Ning Yechen didn't mean that, she was still a little embarrassed to take off her clothes in front of a strange man. Luo Ruiying frowned slightly and stared at Ning Yechen with her beautiful eyes, clearly displeased. Only then did Ning Yechen feel that what he just said seemed inappropriate. He quickly hugged Luo Hongye and approached Luo Ruiying and explained, "Madam, don't get me wrong. Being a husband means using silver needles to open acupuncture points and dredge her meridians. Of course I know. I didn't misunderstand anything." Luo Ruiying snorted softly, glanced over and said, "Ning Yechen, it clearly looks like he is angry. Madam, are you angry?" Ning Yechen approached Luo Ruiying, put his shoulder against her body, and asked with a smile. "I'm not angry. Don't think of me as that kind of pretentious and unreasonable woman." Luo Ruiying glanced sideways at Ning Yechen, took Luo Hongye from his arms, and said lightly, "Don't you have a way to heal her meridians? Go and help her." Seeing Luo Ruiying feeling sulky, Ning Yechen was a little happy, so she responded and walked to Qi Yuan. "Miss Qi, come with me." After saying that, Ning Yechen walked into the house first. Qi Yuan's face turned red, and after some hesitation he immediately followed in. This opportunity was rare. No matter whether Ning Yechen could really heal the damaged meridians on her body, she had to try. This may very well be her last chance to practice in this life. After entering the house, Qi Yuan stood there at a loss, not knowing what to do. Ning Yechen was already sitting cross-legged on the bed and said to her, "What are you still doing? Come on, just turn your back to me and take off your clothes." "Oh," Qi Yuan responded, nervously climbed onto the bed, turned his back to Ning Yechen and slowly took off his clothes. She was really embarrassed to take off her clothes with her back to a strange man. But in order to be able to embark on the path of spiritual practice in the future, she still suppressed her shyness and slowly exposed her back. Compared with Qi Yuan's shyness and embarrassment, Ning Yechen's expression was calm, without any disturbance. Even when he looked at her white back, he didn't feel anything at all and couldn't arouse any interest. Qi Yuan was far inferior to Luo Ruiying in terms of figure and appearance, so how could he be interested? He has seen many beautiful and charming women, but he will only be interested in his wife's figure. Ning Yechen took out a set of silver needles from his arms and unfolded them in front of him. He casually took out a few thin needles and inserted them into Qi Yuan's back meridians accurately and quickly. In fact, it didn't matter to him whether Qi Yuan took off his clothes or not. In his eyes, he could clearly see the flow of meridians and even the condition of the dantian in each person's body. Even through clothes. The reason why Qi Yuan was asked to take off his clothes was just to prevent Luo Ruiying from becoming suspicious. If you can use silver needles to accurately prick the tiny meridians without taking off your clothes, that would be a bit too exaggerated and could easily arouse suspicion. In fact, he didn't even need silver needles. He could heal Qi Yuan's meridians with just his fingers. These injections were done just for Luo Ruiying and Qi Yuan to see. Ning Yechen inserted a silver needle into Qi Yuan's back. The slight sting on his back made Qi Yuan moan softly. Ah hum. Meanwhile, outside the house, Luo Ruiying stood at the door with Luo Hongye in her arms, her mouth pouted slightly, and her face looked unhappy. For some reason, she just felt very unhappy in her heart. Luo Ruiying turned around and looked into the room, looking hesitant. She really wanted to see what was going on inside the house, but she didn't feel very good. It is really inappropriate for a dignified empress of the fairy world to engage in voyeuristic behavior. Anyway, the two of them were just healing, so she had nothing to worry about. Mom, what are Dad and that sister doing? Luo Hongye raised her head and looked at Luo Ruiying Nuo and asked. Yay, Daddy is helping that sister heal her injuries. Luo Ruiying smiled and said softly to Luo Hongye in her arms. The next second, a soft groan came from the house. Luo Ruiying's beautiful eyes widened involuntarily for a moment, and she came to the door in a flash. She secretly lay down by the window and looked at the situation inside through the gap. She was just curious about what was going on inside. Just care about their safety. This is definitely not voyeurism. Just take a look. She just took a look. Luo Hongye lay in her arms and blinked her big eyes, full of innocent doubts. What is Mom doing? On the bed in the house, every time Ning Yechen dropped a needle, Qi Yuan would feel a faint tingling sensation, and his back would feel hot, and he couldn't help but let out a soft moan. This made Ning Yechen feel embarrassed to continue. Miss Qi, please don't make strange noises, otherwise my wife will misunderstand. Also, don't stretch your body too tightly. Ning Yechen held up the silver needle and said speechlessly. He had already noticed a pair of eyes outside the house staring directly at him from the window. Even though Luo Ruiying thought he was just a mortal, this naked sight was something everyone had figured out. And she didn't seem to notice it herself. Feel sorry. I'll endure it. Brother Ning, please continue. Qi Yuan's face turned red and she covered her mouth tightly. She also knew that the sound she made was really weird. But there was nothing she could do. When each needle was inserted, although there was a short and weak sting, it was followed by a burst of heat and indescribable comfort. She was already trying very hard to restrain herself. Ning Yechen felt that with one more injection like this, his wife would break open the door and rush in. So, Ning Yechen picked up the remaining silver needles and stabbed them all into Qi Yuan's back accurately at once. This time, Qi Yuan could not hold back even though she gritted her teeth. Her face twitched slightly and she let out a cry of pain. She leaned forward weakly against the bed. After a while, Qi Yuan recovered and realized that Ning Yechen had removed all the silver needles from her back, packed her things, got up and left the bed. Brother Ning, don't you want to continue? I can still bear it. Qi Yuan raised his head and asked anxiously. She thought Ning Yechen was afraid that she wouldn't be able to hold on anymore, so she put it away in advance. Ning Yechen smiled slightly and said calmly. Continue. It's over. Qi Yuan looked puzzled, and then tried to circulate the spiritual power in his body. The spiritual power flows through the body very easily, and it is no longer as blocked and uncomfortable as before. The meridians in her body were really restored to their original state. Is this true? Qi Yuan's eyes widened in surprise, his face full of disbelief. She really recovered. Once upon a time, her family spent countless gold and silver spirit stones and searched for all kinds of miracle doctors. They were all helpless, but the man in front of her healed her with just a few needles. This speed is simply unbelievable. She felt as if just a few injections were enough. It was as fast as if she had just asked if it had started and was told it was over. Thank you, Brother Ning. Qi Yuan jumped off the bed excitedly and wanted to rush forward to express her gratitude to Ning Yechen. And a beautiful figure appeared in front of Ning Yechen in an instant, blocking her. Miss Qi, your clothes. Luo Ruiying reminded lightly. Only then did Qi Yuan realize that she was still only wearing a close-fitting thin white shirt, and she almost made a rude move to Brother Ning, so she quickly protected her body. Sorry Sister Luo, I didn't mean to. Qi Yuan blushed and apologized quickly, then turned around and put on her clothes. During this period, Luo Ruiying turned around and glared at Ning Yechen. Ning Yechen showed a wry smile and spread his hands. He was wronged. He didn't do anything or look. After Qi Yuan put on her clothes, Luo Ruiying stepped forward and checked her pulse carefully. This inspection immediately made Luo Ruiying slightly widen her beautiful eyes. The meridians in Qi Yuan's body are really unobstructed. How did he do that? It was incredible to successfully heal the meridians all over the body with just a few silver needles. At first she thought Ning Yechen was just an ordinary hunter in the mountains, but now she saw him handing out a large amount of wealth and healing other people's meridians with a few injections. It really surprised her. Thank you Sister Luo and Brother Ning. Qi Yuan once again expressed her solemn gratitude to Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen. Luo Ruiying saved her life, and Ning Yechen gave her hope to rekindle her practice. Her heart was filled with endless gratitude to both of them. No need to thank you. Although the meridians in your body have recovered, they still need to be carefully nursed back to health for a few days before they can fully recover as before. Here is a prescription and some required materials. You can take it regularly in the next few days according to the prescription, and you will be back to normal in a few days. Ning Yechen smiled slightly, took out some more fairy herbs and a prescription from his arms and threw them into Qi Yuan's arms. Qi Yuan lowered his head and glanced at the prescription in his arms, then looked at the celestial herbs in the package, and his eyes widened in shock. These are some extremely rare and rare immortal grass elixirs in the world. The value of each plant is extraordinary. She had never seen that prescription before, but her intuition told her that there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. This seems to be a prescription that can warm and nourish the meridians. The value of this prescription alone far exceeds the value of this house. But he just threw it to her casually. Brother Ning, can I really accept these things? Qi Yuan asked, stammering in shock. The value of these things is so high. Ning Yechen smiled and nodded. You need these medicinal materials and prescriptions now. Since I gave it to you, you can use it as you wish. Thank you so much, Brother Ning. Qi Yuan couldn't help being moved and bowed to thank her again, tears welling up in her eyes. With these medicinal materials and prescriptions, not only does she have hope for practice, but the Kijia Chamber of Commerce also has new hope. Brother Ning, can I ask a question? Why are you so nice to me? After being grateful, Qi Yuan asked in confusion. She and Ning Yechen only met by chance outside the city. It was their first meeting, but they received help that they had never imagined. Because Miss Qi, you are pretty good to my daughter and make her happy, that's all. Ning Yechen smiled lightly. As a reward for making his daughter happy, the things given to Qi Yuan were not worth mentioning at all. This reason was something Qi Yuan never thought of. She just bought some snacks to make her happy because she liked Luo Hongye. Ning Yechen did not hesitate to heal her meridians and gave her rare and expensive medicinal materials and prescriptions. Such generosity far exceeds that of her Qi family. Sure enough, he and Sister Luo are both different. At first, she thought Ning Yechen was just a mortal, with no spiritual energy fluctuations in his body. Only now does she know. It turns out that he is a real miracle doctor. Moreover, He is a miracle doctor with an extremely wealthy family background and very generous spending. Then I'll take my leave, Sister Luo, and see you Brother Ning. After Qi Yuan accepted the medicinal materials and prescriptions, he solemnly bowed goodbye to Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying, and left the house with cheerful steps. She couldn't wait to get home and study the recipe. As soon as Qi Yuan left, Luo Ruiying glanced at Ning Yechen and asked, "Why have I never heard that you are good at medicine?" Luo Ruiying's tone and demeanor made Ning Yechen feel like his wife had been found guilty of hiding private money. This made Ning Yechen feel some pressure in his heart. Even facing dozens of immortal emperors, there is pressure that I have never experienced before. "Madam, you didn't ask, so my husband didn't tell you." Ning Yechen slowly moved towards Luo Ruiying and smiled in a flattering way. Luo Ruiying still stared at Ning Yechen with a scrutinizing gaze, and asked again. "Then why do you live in seclusion in the mountains and forests?" Hiss. Ning Yechen's brain was spinning rapidly, and he came up with a reasonable explanation within 0.0001 seconds. "To tell you the truth, my husband, I was originally born in a very wealthy family. I have countless family members and have been doctors for generations, saving lives and healing the wounded. But then unfortunately something happened, and I was disheartened and chose to retreat to the mountains and forests." Ning Yechen's words were impassioned and touching, and he almost felt tears falling from his eyes. When Luo Ruiying heard that it was like this, the doubts in her heart disappeared, and her expression suddenly softened a lot. "I didn't expect that he had such a sad and touching past. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked this," Luo Ruiying said apologetically. "It doesn't matter, my husband doesn't care anymore. As long as the wife is no longer angry with her husband, it will be fine." Ning Yechen put his arms around Luo Ruiying's delicate waist, stared at her lovingly and said. Luo Ruiying's cheeks were slightly red and she glanced away sheepishly. "I'm not angry, really," while my husband was healing Miss Qi, who was lying angrily at the window. Ning Yechen hugged Luo Ruiying tightly, with a teasing smile on her face. How can I be so angry? I'm just worried about what's wrong with you." Unexpectedly, the peeping was discovered, Luo Ruiying defended with blushing cheeks. At this time, Ning Yechen's body was getting closer and closer to hers. If it weren't for Luo Hongye still holding Luo Hongye in her arms, the two of them would be almost face to face. Ning Yechen came close to Luo Ruiying's ear, blew out a burst of hot air, and whispered. "Madam, my husband is not only proficient in medical skills, but he is also very good at massage. Madam, you are tired from running around all day. Please give me a massage for your husband." With that said, Ning Yechen picked up Luo Ruiying and walked towards the bed. Wait a minute. Luo Ruiying suddenly looked panicked, but she was afraid of hurting Ning Yechen, so she didn't dare to resist forcefully. When he came back to his senses, he had already been placed on the bed. "Madam, take off your clothes, then turn around and lie down. Being my husband will make you very comfortable." Ning Yechen leaned against Luo Ruiying's ear and whispered. He took Luo Hongye from her arms and put the little Luo Hongye at her feet. Luo Ruiying's cheeks suddenly turned red to her ears, and she asked in a panic. Why do you have to take off your clothes for a massage?" "Because my husband has to apply some medicine on my wife, which is very effective in relieving physical fatigue. Madam, please feel free to give your body to your husband." Ning Yechen said seriously. "Don't want." Luo Ruiying was so frightened that she refused softly. "It doesn't sound like a serious massage." "Well, if the lady really doesn't want to, forget it." Ning Yechen sighed softly and said with a disappointed expression. Now Luo Ruiying suddenly felt a little guilty. Ning Yechen wanted to give her a massage just to make her feel comfortable, but if she refused him directly like this, it would be a waste of his good intentions. I have to clean up the house later. Just for a while." Luo Ruiying's cheeks turned red with embarrassment and she compromised in a low voice. "It's just a massage. He is also her husband, so even touching her body is natural. There's no need for her to be so resistant." "No problem. Leave it to your husband, madam." As soon as he heard Luo Ruiying agreed, Ning Yechen's face instantly became excited, and he didn't look at all disappointed just now. Luo Ruiying instantly felt that she had been deceived. This guy must have been pretending to be depressed just now. But it's hard to take back what she said. Luo Ruiying turned her back to Ning Yechen, and slowly untied the silken satin around her waist with her jade hands. The fairy skirt was half tied around her waist, revealing her slender and graceful back, and her skin was as soft as the first snow. At this moment, she only had a close-fitting white floral bellyband on her body. Luo Ruiying blushed and glanced at Ning Yechen, then slowly lay down on the bed. We agreed, only for a while. No problem. Ning Yechen responded excitedly. His hands had already been coated with the medicine, and he gently pressed his palms on Luo Ruiying's back. The palms of his hands caressed the smooth and delicate back, and the cool and silky liquid was applied all over the back. The fingers pressed hard on the back sometimes, and kneaded gently at other times. Ah. Luo Ruiying closed her eyes in comfort, and when her waist was pressed hard, she couldn't help but let out an extremely seductive moan. Luo Ruiying reacted and hurriedly covered her mouth in fright, her face even redder and bleeding from embarrassment. How could she make such a sound? The child is still beside the bed. It's all this guy's fault. She didn't expect that his massage techniques were so powerful. Every part of her skin he pressed made her feel strangely comfortable. When her fingertips ran across her back, her whole body felt numb like an electric shock. Although she was very comfortable, Luo Ruiying still gritted her silver teeth and endured not making any sound. It wasn't until she couldn't hold on any longer that Luo Ruiying couldn't help but speak softly. Yes, it's okay, madam, this has just begun. Ning Yechen's hand strength increased a little. Luo Ruiying's delicate body suddenly felt a burning sensation. Not only did it not hurt, but it was unexpectedly refreshing and comfortable. Luo Ruiying was immersed in it without knowing it, letting Ning Yechen's hands roam freely on her body. After a while, Luo Ruiying's cheeks were stained with a charming flush, her red lips gasped with hot and delicate breath, and her expression was blurred and seductive. Ning Yechen was fascinated by the sight without realizing it. He seemed to have pressed a little too hard. But my wife looks really attractive like this. Ning Yechen subconsciously moved closer to Luo Ruiying's cheek. Luo Ruiying's heart beat violently, but she still raised her head slightly. This means that she has no intention of refusing. Ning Yechen's heart beat like never before, and he cautiously approached. Just when their lips were getting closer and about to touch, Luo Hongyi's voice suddenly came to their ears. Well, Daddy only plays with Mommy. I also want to play with my parents every night. Luo Hongye had a chubby little face and jumped up and down at Ning Yechen's feet, stretching out her hands for a hug. Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying instantly seemed to be waking up from a dream, frozen at a distance of one punch. The two looked at each other, and Luo Ruiying was the first to look away in embarrassment. Ning Yechen felt very sorry. My little baby, it would be better if you were just a little later. The best opportunity has been missed. Ning Yechen coughed lightly and quickly bent down to pick up Luo Hongye. Looking at her cute face with a grieved face, she coaxed. Okay, let's play with my parents every night. Cackle, cluck, cluck. Ning Yechen reached out and scratched Luo Hongye's creaky nest, making her laugh and move randomly in her arms. The grievances just now were instantly wiped away. After Luo Ruiying got dressed, she looked at the laughing father and daughter, smiled fondly, and joined in. The three of them played and joked on the bed for a while. It was not until evening that the three of them lay on the bed together. I completely forgot about cleaning up the house. When they remembered, Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying looked at each other and smiled helplessly. The two got up and started cleaning and tidying up the house. Luo Hongye, also very sensible, joined in to help. With Luo Ruiying's cultivation, the whole house was quickly cleaned. All furniture and other items were floating in midair and returned to their proper places. Luo Hongye stood on tiptoes and placed the last small candle lamp on the table in the room. She turned her head and looked at Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen happily and asked with a smile. It's done cleaning. Did you help Dad and Mom every night? Of course. Ye is awesome. Luo Ruiying smiled lovingly, stepped forward to hug Luo Hongye and praised her. Although Luo Hongye couldn't help at all with her small stature and strength, she was very sensible and obedient and insisted on taking the initiative to help. Luo Hongye, who was praised, felt even happier as she lay in Luo Ruiying's arms. Luo Ruiying saw that Luo Hongye was sweating a lot and said, You're sweating every night. Can mother take you to take a bath now? Okay. Ye likes to take a bath with my mother the most. Luo Hongye laughed happily, and then immediately turned to look at Ning Yechen. Daddy, let's go together. I have to take a bath with my parents every night. Luo Ruiying, Ning Yechen. As soon as Luo Hongye said these words, Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen were stunned for a moment, looking at each other. At this moment, Ning Yechen couldn't help but feel secretly happy and shouted secretly. As expected of daddy's little baby. This is not possible, yi. Luo Ruiying came back to her senses and hurriedly smiled awkwardly at Luo Hongye in her arms. Bathing with Ning Yechen, being honest with each other, she wasn't ready yet. Hey, why not, mother? Mom clearly promised to stay overnight, and next time she will accompany Yi and dad to take a shower. Ye wants to take a shower with mom and dad, can't you, mom? Luo Hongye couldn't help but slightly curled her mouth, her clear and bright eyes full of disappointment. Luo Ruiying didn't want to disappoint Luo Hongye, but she was really embarrassed, so she had to find a reasonable excuse to explain. Ye, it's not that my mother doesn't want to bathe with daddy and Ye together. Mom actually wants to bathe together. It's just that the bathtub in our house is too small and can't accommodate 3 people. When she was just tidying up the house, she went to the bathroom to take a look. The bathtub placed in the bathroom is not very big, so it would be very difficult to squeeze 3 people into it. This was one of the reasons why she had to refuse. However, after Luo Ruiying finished speaking, Ning Yechen disappeared in an instant. In just a moment, Ning Yechen came back with a smile on his face, gave a thumbs up and said, "Don't worry, madam, my husband just found a bigger bathtub in another room and has already changed it." When Luo Ruiying said that the bathtub was too small, he ran out and bought an extra large one and installed it in seconds. Really? Luo Ruiying looked confused. When she was tidying up the room, she looked through every room and didn't see any oversized bathtub. Did she miss it? If you don't believe me, you can go and see for yourself. Ning Yechen smiled. How could you miss this rare opportunity to take a bath with your wife and children? Luo Ruiying carried Luo Hongye to the bathroom with hesitation. I saw that the originally relatively narrow bathtub had long since disappeared, replaced by a bathtub as big as a bathtub that almost occupied the entire room. Really an oversized bathtub. And when did you change it? It was too soon. She didn't even notice it. Luo Ruiying looked at Ning Yechen in astonishment, looking at his expectant and proud smile. She always felt that this guy had been prepared for this from the beginning. What should she do now? There seems to be no reason to refuse. Luo Ruiying froze on the spot, her brain working rapidly, but she really couldn't think of any other excuse to refuse. Luo Hongye pointed to the big bathtub happily, turned to Luo Ruiying and smiled. Mom, it's so big here. Mom, you can take a shower with daddy every night, yeah. Luo Ruiying showed a bitter smile and turned around to see that at some point, Ning Yechen had taken off her clothes. Only a pair of white pants were left on the whole body, showing off a strong and beautiful body. Why did you suddenly take off your clothes again? Luo Ruiying blushed, looked away and shouted shyly. He took off his clothes when she wasn't paying attention. She didn't even notice. Madam, what are you talking about? Of course you have to take off your clothes when taking a bath. Come on, take it off, wife. The water for husband has been boiled in advance. Ning Yechen said with a righteous expression. After saying that, he stepped into the tub first and soaked his whole body into the tub. He had spent a few seconds transforming the bathtub. The bottom of the bathtub was covered with self-heating stones, a type of stone that could continuously generate heat spontaneously. Just pour water into the bath and within a few moments, the bath will become like a hot spring. Luo Ruiying really didn't expect Ning Yechen to be so quick, even the water had been boiled in advance. She didn't even have a chance to make excuses while the water was boiling. Mom, I want to go play every night. Luo Hongye pointed at the bath and said impatiently. Luo Ruiying sighed softly, and without making any more excuses, she helped Luo Hongye take off her clothes and put her into the bathtub. As soon as she entered the bathtub, Luo Hongye happily splashed around in the water. Ning Yechen held Luo Hongye's little hand and asked her to try swimming in the water. Luo Hongyi's little feet kept kicking the water, having a great time. Ning Yechen turned back to look at Luo Ruiying and asked with a smile. Won't my wife come? Luo Ruiying stood by the bathtub, looking at the happy father and daughter. After hesitating for a moment, she finally pursed her red lips and turned her back to Ning Yechen, taking off her clothes. Ning Yechen had just been asked to apply the liquid all over her back, and she couldn't bear the sticky feeling on her back, so she simply didn't force it. The fairy skirt fell to the ground, and a graceful and exquisite body appeared in front of Ning Yechen. At this moment, Luo Ruiying's whole body was covered only by her underpants and a bellyband, and a large area of snow-white skin was exposed. The thin and loose bellyband could not cover up her proud and upright figure. Ning Yechen stared blankly, without even blinking. His wife is really beautiful. I don't know whether it was the influence of the water vapor in the bathroom or being too shy, but Luo Ruiying's pretty face was slightly pink, with crystal water droplets flowing on her face, which looked extremely beautiful. Luo Ruiying glared at Ning Yechen, who was staring intently. She tied up her hair, covered her chest with her arms, and slowly raised her feet and stepped into the bath water. Soaking in the bath water, Luo Ruiying looked a little embarrassed and nervous. She was far away from Ning Yechen, but her beautiful eyes secretly looked at him from time to time. Ning Yechen watched everything secretly and couldn't help but feel funny. His wife is so cute. As an empress of the fairy world, she is so shy, as if she has never seen a man's body before, and she always peeks over curiously. Looking at Ning Yechen, Luo Ruiying immediately looked away in a hurry, pretending to look at Luo Hongye and shouted. Come here every night, mother will help you take a bath. Okay, Luo Hongye responded and happily waded into the water and came to Luo Ruiying. Luo Ruiying skillfully rubbed Luo Hongye's head. Luo Hongye quietly squinted her eyes and sat down in front of Luo Ruiying, with a comfortable smile. While Luo Ruiying was combing Luo Hongye's hair, Ning Yechen had quietly come behind her. When Luo Ruiying noticed it, she hurriedly turned around and said. What are you going to do? Madam, don't move. I'll wash your hair for my husband. Ning Yechen approached Luo Ruiying's back from behind and gently took off the hairpin on her head. A beautiful black hair like ink spread out and rippled on the water. Ning Yechen gently pulled up a strand of hair, held it in his hand, and combed it carefully. The hair feels silky and delicate, like satin, which is addictive. Seeing that Ning Yechen was really just combing her hair, Luo Ruiying felt less nervous. She raised the corners of her mouth slightly and silently let him comb her hair. I whispered in my heart. Really, I didn't even plan to wash my hair today. In the bath, Luo Hongye bathed Luo Hongye, while Ning Yechen combed Luo Ruiying's hair. The three of them were side by side in the bath, and the scene was particularly harmonious. Until suddenly a pair of palms touched Luo Ruiying's back. Shocked, Luo Ruiying's delicate body tensed up like an electric shock, and she said in a sweet voice. What are you doing? Rub your wife's back for your husband. No need, I can do it myself. Luo Ruiying strongly refused. However, Ning Yechen's hands had already touched her back, and waves of delicate and angry sounds came from the bathroom. Wait a minute. Isn't it a back rub? Why are you touching the front? Demon World, inside Weiyang's Demon God's Hall. In front of a large and luxurious round table, 12 demon generals sat quietly together, all looking discouraged and disappointed. There is still no news from Lord Demon Lord. I have sent people to sneak into the fairy world, and there is no news about Lord Demon Lord. Since Lord Demon Lord appeared in the fairy world once, there has been no relevant news. Alas, where has Lord Demon Lord gone? The recent search results of the conversations between the demons and gods. The result is still nothing. Lord Demon wants to hide, but it is really difficult for them to find him. In order to find Lord Demon Lord, they have been searching for more than 100 years. Finally, there was news about Lord Demon Lord, but there was still no trace of him. All the demon gods couldn't help but feel a little discouraged and frustrated. One of the men, who was as tall as a chariot, had scars on his face, and was full of wild aura, said. I heard that Lord Demon Lord went to Tiandao Imperial Palace twice. How about you let me go directly to the immortal realm and arrest that old guy Tiandao Wenshan for questioning? That will trigger the war between immortals and demons again, idiot. Do you really think that all those immortal guys in the immortal world are dead? A woman with dazzling blonde hair and a golden halo twirling her fingers rolled her eyes at the burly man and said unceremoniously. Just fight, what are you afraid of? Is it possible that Kai Huan, known as the Queen of Severed Heads, is afraid? The burly man said angrily and sarcastically. Are you afraid? Are you kidding me? While you were still wearing crotchless pants, my name was already resounding throughout the fairy world. The most unbearable thing in the demon world is to be ridiculed for being weak and timid. That is simply insulting and tarnishing their honor. As soon as Kai Huan heard the mad prisoner's taunt, he tied up his blonde hair in anger, stood up and wanted to take action. Not to be outdone, the mad prisoner slapped the table hard, smashing the entire round table into pieces, and stood up angrily. The two looked at each other angrily, and their swords were at war. The other demon gods were all indifferent to this and didn't care. This kind of thing happens all the time, and everyone is used to it. Several demon palace guards skillfully moved a new table and placed it in the middle of the crowd. Enough. With Lord Demon Lord away, are you becoming more and more lawless? How many times have I told you not to destroy the table? A cold voice came from the darkness of the main hall. Guangzhou and Kai Huan showed fear on their faces and sat back obediently. A woman with a dignified and graceful figure and a charming and cold face slowly walked out of the darkness with dignified and elegant steps. Lord Protector Zuo. When everyone saw the woman arriving, they all greeted her respectfully. The woman is one of the two guardians of the demon world, Guardian Zuo, Yu Qingyu. Her status in the demon world is second only to the demon lord. She is both the protector of the demon lord and the president of the demon world. She is personally in charge of many affairs in the demon world. When the demon lord is not in the demon realm, the entire demon realm is operated and maintained by her. Both in terms of strength and status, they are superior to their 13 demon generals. Yu Qing's beautiful and cold eyes looked around at everyone present, but found that a seat was empty. She frowned slightly and asked, "Where did Yi Tianxian go? Why didn't he come to the meeting of demon gods? I seem to have heard that he is going to the human world to look for clues about Lord Demon Lord." Another woman who sat upright and had a cold expression spoke. The woman has icy skin and jade skin, a cold and ruthless face, and no emotion in her eyes. She holds a long knife more than 2 meters long in her arms and rests it on her shoulder. Go get him back. How can you be absent from the demon god meeting? Hearing that Yi Tianxian was looking for clues about Lord Demon Lord, Yu Qingyu frowned slightly and opened his mouth to give instructions. No need, I'm back. I've met Lord Protector Zuo. At this moment, Yi Tianxian slowly walked out of the darkness on the other side and greeted Yu Qingyu respectfully. God Yi Tian, you should know the importance of the demon god meeting, right? Yu Qingyu looked at Yi Tianxian and asked with slight blame and dissatisfaction. Then he noticed the injury on his chest and frowned. You are hurt. Everyone else also looked surprised and incredulous. You must know that Yi Tianxian is the commander of the first demon army among the 13 demon gods, and his strength is one of the few in the demon world. I don't know how long I haven't seen him injured. Yi Tianxian glanced at the injury on his chest and said nonchalantly. It's just a minor injury. This is my punishment for myself. Punish? Yu Qingyu asked in confusion. Who in the demon world can punish the god of night? Yi Tianxian did not answer, but put his palms on his chest and reported to Yu Qingyu Zheng Shengwei. Reporting to Lord Protector Zuo, my subordinates have met Lord Demon Lord. In an instant, everyone present focused their eyes on Yi Tianxian. Everyone stood up excitedly and asked. What, did you meet Lord Demon? Say quickly, where is Lord Demon Lord now? How is Lord Demon Lord doing now? Is Lord Demon Lord back? Where did you meet Lord Demon Lord? Under everyone's constant questioning, Yi Tianxian didn't even have a chance to speak. Everyone be quiet. Fortunately, it was Karen Yu who stood up and shouted away the people around her. Now in the demon world, the only one who can intimidate the 13 demon gods is Yu Qingyu. Yu Qingyu came to Yi Tianxian in an instant, stared at him and asked eagerly. Have you found Lord Demon Lord? Yes. Where is Lord Demon Lord? The Demon Lord is now hiding in the human world. In the human world, Yu Qingyu murmured softly. It turns out that Lord Demon Lord has been hiding in the human world. Others also looked at each other, wondering what their demon lord was doing in the human world. What about Lord Demon Lord? He didn't come back with you. Yu Qingyu glanced behind Yi Tianxian, frowning and asked displeased Ly. This is also the biggest concern for everyone. Lord Demon Lord, he won't come back with his subordinates. Yi Tianxian replied helplessly. Then you have to kidnap Lord Demon Lord back even if he is kidnapped. Karen Yu said angrily with blame. It took a lot of effort to find the whereabouts of the Demon Lord. If he escapes again, I don't know when we will find him. My subordinates dare not disobey the Demon Lord. Yi Tianxian said helplessly again. Apart from Yu Qingyu, there is no other person in the entire demon world who dares to say this to Lord Demon. Not to mention the question of whether he dares to disobey or not, he is no match for Lord Demon Lord. Yu Qingyu also knew this very well, and she didn't really blame Yi Tianxian in her heart. She was just worried about missing this opportunity and felt angry because she didn't know when she would be able to welcome Lord Demon Lord back. Tell me where Lord Demon Lord is. I will go find Lord Demon Lord myself. Yu Qingyu asked Yi Tianxian. Lord Protector Zuo, Lord Demon Lord asked us not to disturb his current life. Yi Tianxian hesitated for a moment and replied. Why? Does the Demon Lord really not intend to return to the demon realm? Yu Qingyu's face was full of disappointment, and she clenched her hands unwillingly. Lord Demon Lord actually said this. If she comes to him again, it will be disobedience to Lord Demon Lord. The other demon gods also lowered their heads sadly. However, Yi Tianxian showed a slight smile on his lips and continued. Lord Demon Lord has not given up on us. It's just that Lord Demon Lord has more important things now. Something more important. What is more important than the entire demon world? Everyone asked with doubts on their faces. Yi Tianxian closed his eyes lightly, smiled slightly on his stern face, and then announced a big news. Lord Demon Lord, he is married. Chapter 51. Lord Demon Lord is married. Upon hearing the news announced by Yi Tianxian, everyone present was shocked and dumbfounded, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. You must know that when their Lord Demon Lord was leading them, he never approached women, let alone showed the slightest interest in women. Now, they were suddenly told that the Demon Lord they respected the most was already married. Is this true? God Yi Tian, even Karen Yu, who was the most calm and indifferent no matter what she faced, couldn't help asking excitedly to Yi Tianxian. The rest of the people also stared at Yi Tianxian closely, waiting for his answer. How dare I deceive Lord Protector Zuo? This matter was told to me by Lord Demon himself. Yi Tianxian looked solemn and replied affirmatively. Yu Qingyu looked stunned for a moment, then she couldn't help but cover her mouth in excitement, and tears kept flowing out of her eyes. Very good. That's great. Lord Demon Lord, he has finally come to his senses and is willing to get married. I'm so touched. Hundreds of years. She has been waiting for this moment for hundreds of years. Lord Demon Lord, he finally got married. She has been with Lord Demon Lord from the very beginning to assist him, helping him unify the demon world and eliminate all forces that oppose him. She also went to the immortal world with him and experienced the battle between immortals and demons. Until the end of the battle, she always stayed by the Demon King's side to assist him wholeheartedly. The demon world is also unprecedentedly stable and prosperous under the rule of the Demon Lord. The remaining wish in her heart is to see the Demon Lord get married with her own eyes and continue the Demon Lord's descendants. However, the Demon Lord does not seem to have much interest in women. He is devoted entirely to improving the demon world and pursuing powerful power. She once selected 30,000 demon beauties in the demon world to supplement Lord Demon's harem, but he was forcibly dismissed by Lord Demon the next day. And she was lectured by Lord Demon. This made her very distressed. The continuation of the descendants of the Demon King is also a very important matter in the demon world. Now that she heard the news that Lord Demon Lord was married, she was so excited and moved. So much so that tears burst out of my eyes uncontrollably. The rest of the people either stretched out their hands to wipe away the tears from the corners of their eyes like Karen Yu, or showed a relieved smile. Yi Tianxian was also deeply touched and reached out to wipe away the tears from the corners of his eyes. Even the most aloof people present are like this. They have all been waiting for this moment for a long time. If other people saw this scene where the top leaders of the demon world were moved to tears, they would probably be shocked on the spot. This gang has left a terrible reputation in the demon world, and the demons who kill without batting an eye will actually shed tears. Congratulations to Lord Protector Zuo. Our demon world is happy to welcome the demon queen. After being moved, everyone bowed their hands to Yu Qingyu and congratulated her. As for why Ning Yechen got married, the reason why everyone wanted to congratulate Yu Qingyu was simple. Someone once asked Karen Yu what she thought of Lord Demon Lord. And she replied with a look of loving admiration. The Demon Lord has unparalleled strength, but he is not as brutal and cruel as the previous Demon Lords. Rather, he is full of reason and wisdom, committed to changing the chaotic status quo of the Devil World, and full of infinite tolerance and love for the people of the Devil World. I have followed Lord Demon Lord since I was a child and witnessed him step by step ascending to the supreme position of the Demon World. He is the only supreme being in the Demon World in my mind, his king, and her child. I will devote everything I have to serving Lord Demon Lord. That's right, this woman calls Lord Demon Lord her child. But she is indeed the only one in the Demon World who is qualified to call herself this. Karen Yu's identity is very special. She is the left guardian of the Demon World, second only to the Demon King, and the president who governs all affairs in the Demon World. At the same time, she is also the Demon King's daily personal maid, responsible for taking care of the Demon King's food and daily life. In addition, she is also the only person in the Demon World who dares to always ask for various suggestions and requests from the Demon King. As far as getting married is concerned, she has urged the Lord Demon Lord to get married more than once in front of everyone. When she comes back a little late after going out, she has to ask where she went. The Demon Lord sometimes stayed in bed and refused to get up, but she would force him to get up. Lord Demon is also particularly tolerant of her. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is Lord Demon's mother. It's just that she seems to be younger than Lord Demon. Lord Demon Lord's marriage can be regarded as the settlement of a very, very important event in Yu Qingyu's heart. After everyone calmed down their excitement, Yi Tianxian once again announced an even more exciting news to everyone. Master Protector Zuo, Master Demon Lord is not only married, but is now raising children. Wah, what, already have children? Why didn't you tell me earlier? How old is the child? Your Highness or Princess? Yu Qingyu excitedly grabbed Yi Tianxian by the collar and asked urgently, her beautiful green eyes like emeralds full of surprise and excitement. The same was true for everyone else, and they all looked at Yi Tianxian excitedly. Lord Demon Lord said she is a little princess. But I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so I don't know how big it is. Yi Tianxian replied, It's really useless. Yu Qingyu let go of Yi Tianxian's collar in disgust. How could you not know such an important thing? She doesn't know how old the child is, how can she prepare suitable clothes and gifts for her child? However, knowing that Lord Demon Lord had given birth to a son, Yu Qingyu felt even more ecstatic. Lord Demon Lord has a child. She may even be able to assist the little princess in the future. Quick, inform me that the little princess is coming to the Demon World. From today on, the Demon World will hold a grand celebration. Yu Qingyu immediately told everyone. She wants to tell the entire Demon World that the Demon World has welcomed a little princess. However, Yi Tianxian objected. Lord Protector Zuo, I don't agree with this. Why? Yu Qingyu frowned and asked displeased Ly. Yi Tianxian's expression was condensed, and his expression gradually became serious. He told Yu Qingyu that his subordinate Yi Shi was bewitched by the mysterious man and sent people to attack the Demon Lord's wife and daughter. After Yu Qingyu and everyone present learned about the incident, their faces were as cold as ice, and a terrifying murderous intention instantly enveloped the entire Demon God's Hall. Yu Qingyu's pretty face turned frosty, and she reached out and smashed the round table into pieces out of thin air, shattering the entire void. Okay, someone dares to take action against my wife and little princess from the Demon World. Good, very good. Look, find it for me. Once I know who it is, death will be a luxury for him. God Yi Tian, your subordinate Yi Xie offended Lord Demon Lord and deserves death for his crime. But since Lord Demon Lord has personally spoken to forgive him, then forget it. Remember, there is no next time. Both you and your men. Yu Qingyu's green eyes flashed with cold light, and her terrifying aura completely overwhelmed everyone present. Completely different from just now. Yes, I understand. Yi Tianxian bowed solemnly and responded. He also felt guilty and ashamed that his men had offended Lord Demon Lord. Even if Karen Yu kills him now, he will not complain. Only then did Yu Karen slightly restrain her murderous intent, and immediately cancelled her plan to inform the entire demon world about the little princess. I don't know who the other party is, but publicizing it may bring trouble to Lord Demon Lord. Don't tell anyone about the little princess. Since someone dares to take action against the madam and the little princess, I will never sit idly by and watch. But, Lord Demon Lord said that we should not disturb his life. One person present raised his hand and said weakly. Yu Qingyu raised the corners of her mouth slightly and chuckled. I know that you are not allowed to disobey Lord Demon Lord's orders. As long as it doesn't disturb Lord Demon Lord's life. I have my own way. In the courtyard, Luo Ruiying was sitting at the stone table outside the courtyard, with a wool ball on her knees, a needle in both hands, and concentrating on knitting a sweater. It has been a few days since I moved to the south and left the city. It coincides with the beginning of winter. Heavy snow has fallen in the city in recent days, and the weather has suddenly started to turn cold. So she suddenly had the idea of knitting a sweater for Luo Hongye herself. Although she could directly use her spiritual power to knit the sweater faster and easier, she always felt that something was missing, so she decided to knit the sweater by herself. By the way, I also knit one for him. But after I actually started doing it myself, it didn't seem as easy as I thought. Her pride as the Empress of the fairy world did not allow her to give up lightly. Instead, it aroused Luo Ruiying's desire to win and strengthened her determination to knit a sweater by herself. She still couldn't believe that as the Empress of the fairy world, she could even learn how to cook and could still be stumped by knitting sweaters. Luo Ruiying tried to move her hands while looking at the illustrated tutorial Qi Yuan gave her. In the past few days, Qi Yuan often ran here when he had nothing to do and delivered various things. This sweater knitting tutorial diagram was what she asked Qi Yuan for. It was the first time she tried knitting, and Luo Ruiying was not very skilled. She basically turned her head to look at one step and then followed it with her hands. Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye played in the snow in the courtyard. Luo Hongye, who had never seen snow before, felt very excited and happy when she saw the white snow falling from the sky. Her little feet made a squeak sound on the snow. Dad, is this snow? Luo Hongye held a handful of snow in her hand, her cute big eyes full of curiosity. Yes, yay, this is snow. Do you like snow every night? Ning Yechen picked up Luo Hongye from behind, let her sit in his arms, hugged her affectionately and asked. Like it? Luo Hongye raised her head and showed a crescent-like smile. My daughter is so cute. Ning Yechen couldn't help but reached out and gently rubbed Luo Hongye's baby face. Luo Hongye giggled like, he, her innocent and cute look was very endearing. Yay, Daddy will teach you how to make a snowman. What is building a snowman, Daddy? Luo Hongye asked blankly. Building a snowman just makes a person out of the snow in Yi Yi's hands. Well, Daddy, let's set an example for Yi Yi. With that said, Ning Yechen got up and started rolling snowballs in the courtyard. After a while, 2 round balls, one large and one small, were rolled. Ning Yechen placed the small snowball on top of the big snowball, and then decorated the small snowball with a cute face. Dang dang dang, snowman. This is Yi Yi. Oh, Daddy is so awesome. Luo Hongye looked at the snowman, clapped her hands happily, and started rolling snowballs on the ground. I want to be Daddy's snowman every night. It was obviously impossible to make a snowman about the same size as Ning Yechen with Luo Hongye's small body. Naturally, Ning Yechen also joined in. The father and daughter rolled a snowball in the courtyard together. Luo Ruiying looked at the father and daughter pushing the snowball past her and smiled helplessly and fondly. Soon, Luo Hongye and Ning Yechen worked together to build a big snowman. Luo Hongye did not stop immediately, but continued to pile up another snowball. Yay, do you still want to continue building snowmen? Ning Yechen didn't expect Luo Hongye to like making snowmen so much, so she asked with a smile. Dad and Yi Yi have a snowman, but they still need a snowman for Mother. Luo Hongye smiled happily. This answer was completely beyond Ning Yechen's expectations. Even Luo Ruiying, who was knitting a sweater seriously at the side, was stunned. The two looked at each other and smiled happily. This kid is really sensible every night. Okay, Daddy, come help Ye. Ning Yechen continued to accompany Luo Hongye and built another snowman. 3 snowmen stand in the courtyard, 2 big ones on both sides and a small one in the middle. They have wooden sticks in their hands, making it look like they are holding hands. After building the snowman, Luo Hongye stood happily in front of the snowman. Ning Yechen noticed the red little hands in her hands, and hugged her into his arms with some distress, holding her palms with both hands. With Luo Hongye's constitution and bloodline, she didn't actually feel cold inside her body, but her hands were a little red from the cold. Daddy, your hands are so warm. Luo Hongye sat in Ning Yechen's arms, feeling warm currents flowing into her body from her palms. Because Daddy wants to keep warm every night. Ning Yechen chuckled and looked at Luo Ruiying, who was sitting upright with a graceful figure. Suddenly an idea came to her mind and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. Yay, Daddy will take you to Mommy's place to keep warm, okay? Luo Hongye smiled and nodded. Ning Yechen hugged Luo Hongye and walked quietly behind Luo Ruiying. She grabbed Luo Hongye's cool little hand and put it into the back of Luo Ruiying's neck. Luo Ruiying shuddered, turned her head to look at the mischievous father and daughter, and glared at Ning Yechen with a sweet and angry look. This guy is really. Luo Ruiying touched Luo Hongye's cool little hand, took her from Ning Yechen's arms, let her sit in his arms, and stuffed her little hands into the clothes in her arms. Mom, it's so warm inside. Luo Hongye lay in her arms holding Luo Ruiying. Ning Yechen originally just wanted to prank Luo Ruiying, who was focusing on knitting sweaters, but she didn't expect that she took the initiative to hug the child, and actually let her hand reach into the clothes. Lady. Ning Yechen stood aside and called softly. Luo Ruiying raised her head and looked at Ning Yechen doubtfully. Actually, my husband's hands are a bit cold too. Ning Yechen said seriously. Luo Ruiying was stunned for a moment, and then her cheeks gradually turned red. She glanced over and pointed at the room angrily. There is a stove in the house, go and put your hand by the stove. This guy is not serious. Well, when Ning Yechen heard this, he shook his head in disappointment. He knew this would be the result. My wife is a little biased. Why can the child reach in but he can't? Luo Ruiying secretly glanced at Ning Yechen, with a snicker on her lips, and took the initiative to extend her palm. It's too slow to light the stove now. You hold my hand. When Ning Yechen heard this, he quickly cooled his palms secretly, and then held Luo Ruiying's hand with both hands. He wants to take back what he just said. Sure enough, his wife is still considerate. He had already warmed Luo Hongye's hand just now, but now in order to hold his wife's hand, he had to make it cold again. Otherwise it will be exposed. Luo Ruiying suddenly felt a slight chill when her palm was held by Ning Yechen. It turns out this guy's hands are already so cold. Why did Ye just say that his hands were very warm? Luo Ruiying had doubts in her heart, but she didn't think much about it. The spiritual power in her palms warmed Ning Yechen's hands. Ning Yechen held Luo Ruiying's hand and put it on her cheek again, with a look of satisfaction on her face. My wife's hands are warm and soft. At this moment, there was a gentle knock on the door outside the courtyard. Somebody is coming. Luo Ruiying warmed Ning Yechen's hand, hugged Luo Hongye and stood up to open the door. Outside the gate, 2 men and 1 woman stood at the door. One of the men has a generous figure, a strong and handsome face, and a naive smile. The other man had long, pale hair and was also very delicate and elegant. And that woman's waist is like a water snake, her figure is slender, and her face is outstandingly beautiful. The 3 of them stood at the door in simple clothes, bowed to Luo Ruiying with smiling faces and called. Meet Madam. The 3 of them are the Chaos Demon Bull, Titan Giant Ape and Sky-Swallowing Divine Python in the Demon Realm Forest. They had not completely transformed before, and had always maintained their half-demon form. Now is the first time that they appear here in full human form. Husband, Madam. Luo Ruiying looked at the 3 of them in astonishment. She had never seen these 3 people in her memory, so why did they suddenly call her Madam? Just when Luo Ruiying was about to ask if they had recognized the wrong person, Ning Yechen had already walked over from behind and said with a smile. You are here. When the 3 chaos demonic cows saw Ning Yechen, they quickly bowed and greeted. I've met the young master. Master. Do you know them? Luo Ruiying turned her head and asked doubtfully. Ning Yechen nodded and explained. Madam, the three of them were my servants. Since I planned to stay here temporarily, my husband summoned them here so that they can help my wife with the housework. From now on, I can give any orders to the three of them regarding matters at home. Ning Yechen had arranged for the 3 chaos demonic cows to come to them today. It just happened that a few days ago, Luo Ruiying casually made up an excuse about his life experience. With this excuse, he could reasonably arrange the 3 chaos demonic cows at home and let them act as guards and take care of the housework. This way his wife can have more time. Luo Ruiying didn't feel the need to arrange additional attendants at home. She could take care of everything. But after hearing that the 3 of them were all former servants of his family, he thought about it and left them without refusing. Anyway, there are a lot of empty rooms at home, and it would be a waste not to live in them. You all come in. Luo Ruiying chuckled and turned sideways to let the 3 chaos demonic cows enter the courtyard. Luo Hongye, lying in her arms, was as shy as ever and timidly looked at the 3 of them secretly. Hello, miss. The heaven-swallowing divine python raised his hand and greeted Luo Hongye enthusiastically. This is the little princess they will serve in the future. There is no room for error. You have to please the relationship. Brother, sister, hello. Although Luo Hongye was afraid of strangers, people who were warm and friendly to her were always very polite. Nuo replied timidly and politely. This sound simply hit the hearts of the 3 of them. What's going on with this kid? This was the first time they had seen Ning Yechen's daughter. In the past, they had never dared to take a second look at her. This is really too sensible and polite. Is she really that adult's daughter? Every time they think of Ning Yechen's figure, the 3 of them can't help but feel trembling and fearful. But the Luo Hongye in front of me was so small and cute, with such a timid look that I couldn't help but want to hold her in my arms for protection. What a huge difference from that adult. Of course, they only dare to think about this idea in their hearts. If adults find out about it, they will be finished. After entering the courtyard, Luo Ruiying led the 3 heaven-swallowing divine pythons to find 3 rooms that were close together. This will be your room from now on. Yes, ma'am. The 3 heaven-swallowing divine pythons bowed respectfully and responded. Although they had never been attendants, when they heard that Ning Yechen wanted them to disguise themselves as attendants and follow them around, they read a lot of books about attendants' self-cultivation overnight. For this reason, he also secretly observed what the servants and attendants in many wealthy families did. Just to be foolproof and not leave any flaws. By the way, I still don't know what your names are. After arranging the room, Luo Ruiying chuckled and asked casually. Even though she was once an empress and lived in the immortal palace, she would still ask for the names of the maids beside her. She is never harsh with her attendants, and even if they do something wrong, she will usually forget it and never make things difficult for them. She will treat every attendant with respect. The 3 heaven-swallowing divine pythons were stunned when asked their names. Oops, they haven't thought of their own names yet. He has been hiding in the demon realm forest and practicing for hundreds of years. He is devoted to practicing and has never thought about his name at all. Luo Ruiying's face showed confusion when she saw the 3 people of the heaven-swallowing divine python suddenly stunned and unable to say their names. Isn't it just a name? Why did you need to think about it for so long? Everyone in the heaven-swallowing divine python seemed to be suspicious when they saw Luo Ruiying, so they hurriedly made up in a panic. My name is Menganiu. My name is Bai Yuan. My name is Keish. Ha, fierce bull, white ape, colorful snake. Luo Ruiying frowned slightly. Why did her name sound so weird? The heaven-swallowing divine python secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and its little heart rose to its throat. If this is messed up, the adult will skin them. Fortunately, Ning Yechen stepped forward in time and explained. Madam, their names are actually Meng Niu, Bai Yuan, and Kai Si. Oh, Luo Ruiying smiled and nodded, no longer doubting it. It turned out that their accents were wrong, causing her to mishear. She just said, why is the name so weird? Kai Si and the others breathed a sigh of relief. From now on, these will be the new names of the 3 of them. It can be regarded as a name given by an adult. Ning Yechen glanced at Kai Si and the other 3, and was immediately frightened to the point where they were sweating profusely and trembling. It's over, you won't be angry anymore. What's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell? Luo Ruiying couldn't help but expressed concern when she saw the three people's bodies trembling slightly. It's okay, ma'am. It's cold, a bit cold. You told me earlier, I'll get you some clothes. Luo Ruiying smiled softly, put Luo Hongye into Ning Yechen's arms, turned and left to get clothes. Kai Si and others were deeply moved. Madam, she is so gentle. Only adults are so scary. Dad, will these brothers and sisters also live here in the future? Luo Hongye asked softly while lying in Ning Yechen's arms. Yes, they were invited by Dad to play with Yi Yi. Don't be afraid every night. If they dare to bully you, just tell Daddy. Ning Yechen said softly to Luo Hongye in his arms. When talking about the latter part, he raised his eyes and glanced at Kai Si and the others coldly. The meaning is self-evident. As long as the three of them dare to make his daughter unhappy, they can disappear from here. Kai Si and the others were so frightened that their legs weakened and they fell to the ground trembling. When Luo Ruiying came back with the clothes, she became even more confused when she saw the three people trembling on the ground. Although the weather has turned cold due to snow, is it that cold? After getting the clothes from Luo Ruiying, Meng Niu and others started working as attendants. First, he cleaned every corner of the house, and then he chopped firewood and boiled water. He was very diligent. However, except for Kai Si, the other two men, Meng Niu and Bai Yuan, were quite unfamiliar with their skills and even a bit clumsy, breaking various things from time to time. However, Luo Ruiying didn't pay much attention. Instead, she told them not to work so hard and let them take a rest. At this time, Meng Niu and the others were standing in the courtyard, staring at Luo Hongye who was squatting on the ground holding a snowball. The three of them were ordered by Ning Yechen to play with Luo Hongye. But they don't know how to play with children at all. It's okay to let them kill people and set fires, but it's really hard for them to play with children. Kai Si, think of a way quickly. Bai Yuan sent a message to Kai Si beside him to ask for help. Now the three of them have accepted the new names given to them by Ning Yechen. If I had my way, would I still be standing here? Kai Si rolled his eyes at Bai Yuan and Meng Niu speechlessly. These two guys are really useless. Although Luo Hongye still felt a little timid, her father told her that these were not bad people, so she mustered up the courage to raise the snowball in her hand and asked cutely. Brothers and sisters, do you want to build a snowman together? I want it. Seeing Luo Hongye taking the initiative to talk, the three of them nodded like chickens pecking at rice. This is a rare opportunity to initiate a conversation. Not to mention building a snowman, the three of them are willing to dig out a cesspool. When Meng Niu and the others agreed, Luo Hongye smiled happily and rolled a snowball on the ground according to the method Ning Yechen taught her. Then I'll teach you every night. First like this, then like this, then like this. Meng Niu and three others knelt on the ground and pushed the snowball with Luo Hongye, clapping their hands and praising him from time to time. Wow wow wow, Miss is so amazing. Miss is awesome. Miss is really talented and smart. Much smarter than me. Ning Yechen, who was sitting next to Luo Ruiying, couldn't help showing a speechless expression. The flattering faces of these three guys are completely revealed. This is flattery, even if Yi Yi is too young to see it. Seeing as the child is happy, forget it. Luo Ruiying also sat aside, holding her cheek with one hand and watching Luo Hongye quietly with a smile. She was also very happy to see more people playing with her. But as she watched, Luo Ruiying noticed that someone next to her kept moving towards her little by little, getting closer and closer. What are you doing? Luo Ruiying glanced at Ning Yechen and asked. She thought Ning Yechen would retreat obediently, but she didn't expect him to come closer and even lie on her side and lean on her shoulder. This move startled Luo Ruiying slightly. My husband suddenly felt a little tired and wanted to lend me my wife's shoulder. Ning Yechen closed his eyes, leaned on Luo Ruiying's shoulder and smiled lightly. Although he is very happy to be with his children all the time, sometimes he still likes to spend some time together as a couple. It happened that Meng Niu and the others were playing with Luo Hongye. It was a rare moment for the couple to be alone together, so they naturally had to make good use of it. After Luo Ruiying calmed down, she rolled her eyes at Ning Yechen and said, "When you are tired, you should go back to your house and rest." But my husband prefers to be here with my wife, Ning Yechen said bluntly without opening his eyes. This sentence suddenly made Luo Rying's cheeks blush slightly, and she said nothing more. He just secretly took a look at Ning Yechen's sleeping face. Since he likes it, let him do it. Just resting on my shoulder, no big deal. The two figures sat quietly in front of each other in the courtyard. In the courtyard, with the help of Meng Niu and the others, 3 more snowmen appeared in the courtyard. 3 snowmen stand behind the first 3. Luo Hongye pointed at the 3 newly piled snowmen and smiled. This is the snowman for my brothers and sisters. Only then did Meng Niu and the other 3 realize that Luo Hongye was going to build a snowman for the 3 of them, and they were so moved that they almost burst into tears. The lady treats them as part of the family. What a nice lady. Kai Si couldn't help but want to hold the little Luo Hongye in his arms and love her hard. But when she thought that she was an adult's daughter, her reason still stopped her. After building the snowman, Luo Hongye played a snowball fight with Meng Niu and the others. Luo Hongye was petite and had little strength in her hands. The snowballs she squeezed were not solid at all, they were fluffy and had no effect at all. At most, the snowballs could only be thrown at the feet of Meng Niu and the others, and sometimes the snowballs even scattered in midair. But despite this, Luo Hongye still had a great time. Meng Niu and the other 3 also made snowballs to fight back. But how dare they really hit Luo Hongye with a snowball? Even if I gave them 10 courages, they wouldn't dare. The snowball was basically thrown towards Luo Hongye on purpose, without even being scratched. He also had to put on a look of regret. However, Meng Niu got more and more into it, and gradually became immersed in it. He threw a snowball and hit Luo Hongye right in the face. Luo Hongye's entire little face was suddenly covered with snow. Kai Si, Bai Yuan, Meng Niu. The scene froze for a moment, and there was only the sound of whistling wind and snow in my ears. At this moment, Meng Niu was so frightened that he covered his cheeks, his expression comparable to the famous painting, The Scream. My heart is like this ice and snow, so cold. Meng Niu turned his head stiffly and looked at Kai Su and Bai Yuan, with a dull look on his face as if asking, "Am I doomed?" Even though Meng Niu didn't say a word, Kai Su and Bai Yuan read the meaning of his question from his face and nodded very solemnly. "Yes, you're dead." Meng Newton showed an expression of despair and despair. It's over. His life has seen its end at this moment. Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying both noticed Luo Hongye, whose face was covered with snow. They stood up and walked to her side, patting the snow off her face. Unexpectedly, Luo Hongye did not cry, but smiled happily. The snowball in Meng Niu's hand was not firm and he didn't use any force, so Luo Hongye didn't feel any pain. Seeing that Luo Hongye was not hurt or wronged, Ning Yechen had no intention of blaming Meng Niu. Meng Niu didn't know how Ning Yechen planned to deal with him, and he was already thinking about how he would disappear from the world next. After the snow on his face was wiped off, Luo Hongye pulled Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying together again and said with a smile, "Dad, Mother, let's play together. There are 3 of them, and there is only one Yi Yi. My father and mother will help Yi Yi." Okay. Luo Ruiying smiled fondly and agreed. Next there was a 3 versus 3 snowball fight in the courtyard. However, how dare the Meng Niu trio resist? No matter it was Ning Yechen, Luo Ruiying or Luo Hongye, none of them dared to throw a snowball on them. After a while, the 3 of them were submerged in the snowball. Rather than having a snowball fight, they are more like moving targets. Dong dong dong. Just as everyone in the courtyard was having fun playing in the snow, there was another knock on the courtyard door. Kai Si took the initiative to go over and open the door. Qi Yuan outside the door was holding some snacks in one hand and was about to raise his hand to say hello. Suddenly he saw a woman he had never seen before standing in front of him and was stunned for a moment. Did I go to the wrong door? Sorry, I seem to have gone to the wrong door." Qi Yuan bowed slightly in embarrassment and smiled coquettishly. Kai Si didn't say anything more, nodded slightly, and closed the courtyard door again. "Who is it?" When Kai Su returned to the hall, Luo Ruiying saw her coming alone and asked suspiciously, "Madam, you knocked on the wrong door." Kai Si bowed and replied, "Yeah." Luo Ruiying responded and didn't pay much attention to it. Outside the house, Qi Yuan turned around and left in confusion, carefully looking at the nearby scenery and yard, frowning slightly, and looking thoughtful. It's not right. This is it. During this period, she came here almost every once in a while, how could she go wrong? Qi Yuan stepped forward and knocked on the door confirmingly. Let me do it. This time Luo Ruiying stopped Kai Si, got up and opened the courtyard door herself. Sister Luo. Seeing it was Luo Ruiying, Qi Yuan immediately said hello with a smile. Sure enough, she just said it. She comes here often, how could she go wrong? She could walk through Nanli City with her eyes closed. Miss Qi, come in. Luo Ruiying responded with a smile. She wondered if Qi Yuan was coming outside the house. After all, Kai Si didn't know Qi Yuan. The result was just as expected. Then I'll excuse you. Qi Yuan nodded politely and entered the room. As soon as she entered the house, she saw Meng Niu, Bai Yuan, and Kai Shi, who had opened the door for her just now. She couldn't help but ask in confusion. Sister Luo, who are these? The three of them were servants in my husband's former home. Luo Ruiying explained. Qi Yuan nodded kindly towards Meng Niu and the others. A wealthy miracle doctor like Brother Ning must have an unusual family background. It is natural to have several attendants. What she didn't expect was that these three people all looked so outstanding. The handsome man and the beautiful woman are very eye-catching even among the attendants. Sister Qi. Luo Hongye was held in Ning Yechen's arms and sat by the stove to warm her hands. When she saw Qi Yuan arriving, she called out sweetly and politely. Qi Yuan would come often during this period, and he always brought some snacks every time to make Luo Hongye happy. The relationship gradually became closer. Xiao Yi Yi. When Qi Yuan saw Luo Hongye, a doting and greedy smile suddenly appeared on her face. His hands couldn't put it down and rubbed Luo Hongye's little face. The baby's chubby little face is so tender and tender when pinched, she just can't put it down. Kai Si and the other three people watching from the side couldn't help but look envious. Hateful, they really wanted to rub the young lady's face so hard. Here, give these food to Ye. After feeling satisfied, Qi Yuan handed the snacks in his hand to Luo Hongye. It seems like business remuneration. Thank you, Sister Qi. Luo Hongye happily took the snack bag, couldn't wait to eat it, and even handed it to Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying. Dad, Mom, let's eat together. No, you can eat it if you like it every night, but don't eat too much. Luo Ruiying said with a fond smile. Ning Yechen opened his mouth and let Luo Hongye feed him. This is what my daughter feeds. How can you refuse? When Qi Yuan saw Luo Hongye eating happily, a satisfied smile appeared on her face, and she stood up and sat aside. Kai Si quickly served her a cup of tea. Thanks. After Qi Yuan took a sip of tea, he finally remembered the business and almost got immersed in Luo Hongye's cute offensive. Qi Yuan took out a low-level spiritual ring from his arms and handed it to Ning Yechen. Brother Ning, during this time, according to the menstrual healing liquid prescription you gave me, our Qi family tried to find someone to refine some and put them in our Qi family trading house for auction. These are 50% of the profits from the auction. Every month from now on, my Qi family will hand over 50% of the profits from refining and selling the medicine to Brother Ning. After Qi Yuan received the prescription from Ning Yechen, she immediately rushed back to Qi's house and ordered people to study it overnight. The person who discovered this prescription is actually a rare elixir that can warm and nourish the spiritual power of meridians. Moreover, the materials required for this elixir are not too demanding, and the refining method is extremely simple and convenient, with a high success rate. She and her family searched all the recorded medicine recipes, but could not find this magical spiritual liquid recipe. This medicinal liquid that can warm and nourish the meridians is most popular among monks. Once refined and sold, countless monks will definitely compete for it. The facts were as expected. The Qi family ordered people to try to refine a few menstrual fluids and then auctioned them at their own auction house. As a result, every copy was auctioned for a sky-high price. Countless monks came here to bid for it. The originally lifeless Qi family chamber of commerce relied on this menstrual healing fluid, and suddenly it was as if it had come back to life and was full of excitement. Just a small prescription revitalized the Qijia Chamber of Commerce. Qi Yuan was full of gratitude to Ning Yechen and wanted to come over to thank him no matter what. Give back what belongs to Ning Yechen. However, Ning Yechen didn't need this small amount of spiritual stones at all, so he flatly refused. No need, I gave you that prescription without any intention of receiving anything in return. Qi Yuan looked solemn and said forcefully, that won't work. My Qi family already owes a lot to brother Ning and sister Luo, how can we monopolize that prescription and make a profit? Brother Ning, you must accept it. Okay, then I'll accept it. Ning Yechen thought for a while and finally decided to accept the spiritual stone. Just treat it as a deal, and the Qijia Chamber of Commerce can accept it more easily. Besides, it might as well keep these spiritual stones as future expenses for the family. Madam, these spiritual stones will be left to you for safekeeping. Ning Yechen directly handed the spiritual ring with the spiritual stone in his hand to Luo Ruiying. Give me. Luo Ruiying picked up the spirit ring in confusion. That's right, the family's property is naturally the responsibility of the wife. Ning Yechen smiled. All right, if you need anything, just tell me. Luo Ruiying took the spirit ring and responded. The feeling of taking care of the family's belongings like a woman is new to her. Qi Yuan looked at the scene between Ning Yechen, Luo Ruiying and Mu and I, and her expression couldn't help but show confusion. What's wrong, Miss Qi? Ning Yechen noticed it and asked. Qi Yuan hesitated for a moment and said, Sister Luo, tomorrow is the Chamber of Commerce competition. I heard that the Zhang family invited a strong man who has cultivated in the heavenly realm. If there is danger tomorrow, Sister Luo, you must give up immediately. Although Qi Yuan really hopes that the Qi family can win, now he doesn't even want Luo Ruiying to get hurt. If the Qi family loses, the worst thing they can do is withdraw from Nanli City. Ning Yechen and Luo Ruiying couldn't help but chuckle when they heard this. I thought she was worried about something. Don't worry, Miss Qi. If it's just the heavenly realm, I should be able to handle it. Luo Ruiying said confidently. Even if she is in the realm of gods, she is not very worried. Those in the realm of gods will not be her opponent at all. The next day, the snow stopped for a while, and heavy snow covered every corner of the roofs and streets. The entire Nanli city was covered with snow, and the world was filled with snow. Under the largest competition arena in Nanli City, countless people gathered here, waiting for a rare and important competition. The two major chambers of commerce in Nanli City, the Qi family and the Zhang family, are about to hold a Chamber of Commerce competition today. The winner will get the opportunity to control the entire Nanli City, while the loser is likely to quit the Chamber of Commerce forever. Everyone in the audience could not wait to witness this historic moment for Nanli City, whispering to each other. Hey, tell me, who will win this Chamber of Commerce competition between the Qi family and the Zhang family? Let me see, it's most likely the Zhang family. Hey, if the Zhang family gains power again, Nanli City will probably be ruled by the Zhang family. That's right, the Zhang family relies on their own body-tempering spiritual liquid to raise the price from the ground up. It's extremely expensive. The Zhang family keeps lowering the price to purchase the materials of the monsters we hunt. If the Zhang family controls the entire Nanli City Chamber of Commerce, how will we live our lives? I hunt monsters in the monster forest every day, and I earn this much just by working my ass off. The Qi family must not fail. Most of the people present wanted the Qi family to win. This competition is not only related to the two chambers of commerce, but also related to the future lives of many monks in the entire Nanli City. The Zhang family is so powerful in Nanli City that no one can control it. They have been buying materials such as fairy grass at low prices and selling them at high prices, which has made many people very dissatisfied and miserable. Now at least the Qi family can compete and do business at a fair price that benefits the people. If the Qi family collapses, life in Nanli City will not be easy for them in the future. However, many people are pessimistic about whether the Qi family can win today. It will be difficult for the Qi family to defeat the Zhang family. I heard that the forces behind the Zhang family personally sent a very powerful elder. It is said that he has the cultivation level of heaven and human realm. Heavenly realm. Oh my god. Then what else is the Qi family fighting for? Even if we sell the Qi family, we may not be able to recruit powerful people in the heavenly realm, right? Well, while everyone was sighing, the Qi family was the first to appear in public view. Qi Rongchang, the head of the Qi family who is nearly 60 years old, slowly walked to the ring accompanied by Qi Yuan and the stewards and guards of the Qi family. The Qi family has a history of nearly 100 years in Nanli City. It is regarded as a long-established chamber of commerce in Nanli City. It has a good reputation for fair transactions and reasonable prices. As soon as the Qi family appeared, they won the cheers and cheers of many people present. Mr. Qi, come on. Old Qi, we must not lose. I'll assume that it belongs to the Qi family chamber of commerce. Mr. Qi, you have to hold on. Facing the cheers from everyone around him, Qi Rongcheng couldn't help but smile and nodded frequently to show his goodwill to everyone. With the help of everyone, they slowly came to Luo Ruiying and Ning Yeshan, who had already arrived a step earlier. This was the first time Qi Rongcheng saw Ning Yeshan's family of 3, and his old eyes were full of surprise, praise and respect. Ever since Qi Yuan returned to the Qi family, he had been listening to her talk about Luo Ruiying and Ning Yeshan every day. I was full of praise and gushing praises for their family of 3. At first, he didn't pay much attention until he learned that Luo Ruiying had killed dozens of Lingwu realm monks with one sword. Then Ning Yeshan healed the meridians in Qi Yuan's body and gave her the precious prescription of meridians healing liquid. Qi Rongcheng was immediately convinced that his Qi family had definitely met a noble person. He had always wanted to find an opportunity to visit in person to thank him, but after hearing Qi Yuan say that the two of them didn't like to be disturbed often, he had no choice but to give up. Now that he finally saw it with his own eyes, Qi Rongcheng became even more convinced of his suspicions. He has been in business all his life and still has a good eye for people. This woman has a stunning appearance and an unworldly temperament. It is obvious at a glance that she has an unusual background and life experience. Although the man only looked handsome and elegant, how could he be ordinary if he could heal damaged meridians and easily take out that precious elixir? This couple must be extraordinary. I, Qi Rongcheng, the head of the Qi family, have the honor to meet these two people. Thank you both for helping my Qi family. Qi Rongcheng respectfully saluted Luo Ruiying and others and thanked them. Master Qi, you don't have to be polite. My assistance to the Qi family is just a deal with Miss Qi. Luo Ruiying hugged Luo Hongye and said calmly, I understand. My Qi family will keep this kindness in mind. No matter what the outcome is today, if you two are in need in the future, please feel free to come to my Qi family. I will definitely help you. Qi Rongcheng is not stupid. A house worth 2 million taels alone is not enough to invite Luo Ruiying to help the Qi family. Luo Ruiying just saw the Qi family in trouble and couldn't stand the Zhang family, so she came to help. The Qi family naturally wanted to be grateful. While everyone was talking, everyone from the Zhang family had also arrived. As soon as Zhang Zhen and the others appeared, the people around them couldn't help but avoid the sides and hid far away, completely opposite to when the Qi family appeared. Zhang Zhen ignored everyone around him and strode towards everyone in the Qi family. Behind them were a group of people from the Zhang family and a man with a soft and pale face, dressed in white lotus clothes. Even Zhang Li, who had lost 3 of his legs, regained consciousness after several days of intensive treatment and was wheeled over in a wheelchair. As soon as he saw everyone in the Qi family, Zhang Zhen couldn't help but sneer at the corner of his mouth, came to him and taunted. Old Qi, it turns out you are still alive. I'm so happy to see you so healthy. Qi Rongcheng couldn't hear Zhang Zhen's yin and yang aura. His pale eyes squinted coldly and he replied unceremoniously. I am in very good health. If you step into the coffin first, I may not even be able to leave. When the Zhang family first came to Nanli City, it was just a small chamber of commerce and was on the verge of bankruptcy several times. It was the Kijia who kindly acquired it and divided it into the Kijia branch. Later, with the strong help of the Qi family, it gradually developed and expanded. But I didn't expect that the powerful Zhang family would re-establish its own chamber of commerce, but instead would ignore the past kindness and continue to encroach on the territory of the Kijia Chamber of Commerce, almost forcing the Kijia family out of Nanli City. Seeing everyone in the Zhang family, Qi Rongcheng regretted that he should not have accepted this white-eyed wolf from the Zhang family. Snort. Zhang Zhen was furious, but then he snorted disdainfully and continued. We haven't seen each other for many years, but Mr. Qi is still as sharp in words as before. For the sake of past kindness, I advise Mr. Qi to give up on your own initiative. Your Qi family will definitely be defeated today. Now admit defeat and hand over the remaining jurisdiction over the street shops. With your Qi family's assets, you can still have a chance to enjoy your retirement. Why do you have to risk everything in the Qi family? HMPH, the Chamber of Commerce competition hasn't even started yet. How do you know that my Qi family will lose? Is it possible that your Zhang family is afraid? Qi Rongcheng looked resolute and spoke bluntly without giving in. Even if the Qi family loses everything, he will not give up. Seeing how arrogant the Zhang family was, Qi Yuan couldn't help but stepped forward and said, "If you want to swallow up our Qi family Chamber of Commerce, wait until you win." HMPH, I don't know what's going on, but you brought this upon yourself. After today, the Qi family will disappear from Nanli City. Zhang Zhen's face turned cold. He waved his hands and was about to turn around and leave, but was suddenly stopped by Ning Yechen behind him. Wait a moment. Zhang Zhen stopped, frowned, and turned to look at Ning Yechen in confusion. Who are you? Me. I'm just an ordinary house husband. The person responsible for representing the Qi family in the Chamber of Commerce competition is my wife. Ning Yechen took a step forward and said with a chuckle. Zhang Zhen looked at Luo Ruiying, who was holding Luo Hongye behind Ning Yechen, smiled contemptuously, and said with a sinister smile. Really? Then I advise you to ask your wife to give up and admit defeat. Otherwise, after today, you may be separated from your wife forever, ha ha ha. Everyone behind the Zhang family started laughing unbridled. The young man responsible for recommending Zhang Li even bluntly and boldly teased Luo Ruiying. It's a pity that she was so beautiful and charming, and she died just like that. Why don't you join my Zhang family and enjoy the glory and wealth? If you ask me, it would be ridiculous for a monk to marry a mortal. Why don't you marry me instead? I will love you well. Master Zhang Qian is right. Maybe we can also take advantage of it and enjoy it. Don't worry, when I get tired of playing, I'll take care of you. Zhang Qian waved his hand and said very boldly. Zhang Gan is the eldest son of Zhang Zhen's younger brother Zhang Ming. He has followed Zhang Li since he was a child and is ignorant and unskilled. The romantic and lustful nature is as good as Zhang Li's. And his reputation as a pervert is even far above that of Zhang Li. At most, Zhang Li would use various means to coerce and induce women to surrender to him, but Zhang Gan liked to play with women the most and then leave them to his men to enjoy. Even if he gets a wife himself, he will leave her to his subordinates when he gets tired of playing with her. The euphemistic name is rewarding your subordinates. There are not a few women who choose to commit suicide because of the humiliation in his hands. Your name is Zhang Gan, right? When Ning Yechen heard these words, his eyes were cold and frosty, and his heart was already filled with rage. No one dares to humiliate his wife and children like this. Ning Yechen secretly put his palms in front of him so that Luo Ruiying behind him couldn't see him, and gently clenched his palms into fists. The next second, Zhang Gan, who was smiling unscrupulously, suddenly started bleeding from all his orifices. Zhang Gan looked stunned. He reached out and touched the blood flowing from his nose and eyes. Before he understood what happened, he suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood and fell down dead on the spot. Blood spurted onto Zhang Li, who was sitting in a wheelchair, and he was so frightened that he screamed repeatedly. Ah, what happened? This scene shocked everyone present. Everyone in the Zhang family was so frightened that they backed away. No one knew what happened, but Zhang Gan suddenly died suddenly. Luo Ruiying's expression condensed, and she immediately stuffed Luo Hongye into Ning Yechen's arms and stepped forward to check it out in person. This inspection instantly caused Luo Ruiying's expression to change suddenly, and her pretty face was filled with shock. Zhang Gan's internal organs were all rotten. The body was severely twisted and squeezed in an instant. Who is it? She quietly killed Zhang Gan, and she didn't even notice the slightest fluctuation in spiritual power. The other party didn't even notice that he was taking action. Luo Ruiying looked around at everyone in the circle and found no suspicious person. Madam, what happened? Ning Yechen asked beside Luo Ruiying with a look of horror. You still have to act well. Otherwise, it would be terrible if my wife suspects. Originally, he planned to crush all those in the Zhang family who laughed at him to death. But in that case, today's Chamber of Commerce competition might not be held, and he might also be suspected by Luo Ruiying. The rest can only be saved for next time. Someone tried to kill him, but I don't know who. Luo Ruiying said seriously, feeling deeply powerless and worried in her heart. If the other party attacks Ning Yechen, she won't even have any way to stop him. Fortunately, the other party didn't seem to be looking for her. Everyone in the Zhang family was so frightened that they could not calm down for a long time. Zhang Zhen walked to Chen Ru and whispered with lingering fear. Lord Holy Envoy, who did it? Chen Ru shook her head, looking shocked. Because he didn't notice anything strange at all. Chen Ru turned her attention to Ning Yechen. Zhang Gan suddenly died after saying those words. Could it be? No way, it can't be him. There was no spiritual energy fluctuation on his body, and there was no movement of his hands. The murderer is someone else. Seeing that Chen Ru had not found the murderer, Zhang Zhen asked worriedly. Lord Holy Envoy, how about postponing today's competition? No need. The other party has no intention of taking action again. He should have left. The competition will continue as usual. Take Nanli City as soon as possible to avoid more trouble. Chen Ru said calmly with a determined expression. Zhang Zhen did not dare to disobey Chen Ru's decision. Although he was worried, he could only continue to proceed as planned. The Zhang family quietly took away Zhang Gan's body. Although this unexpected episode passed just like that, it still lingers in everyone's mind. Ning Yechen looked at Zhang Zhen and stated his purpose. Master Zhang, in this Chamber of Commerce competition, the Qi family and the Zhang family each bet on 40% of the city's street jurisdiction, right? Can I change the bet? Why, the Qi family regrets it. Once a bet is signed, there is no room for regret. Zhang Zhen thought that the Qi family wanted to repent and asked Ning Yechen to tell them, so he sarcastically said. Ning Yechen slowly shook his head, his eyes narrowed, and he said. No, the head of the Zhang family misunderstood. I mean exactly the opposite. The bet will include the remaining 20% of the street jurisdiction of your Zhang family. What, you want me, the Zhang family, to add all street jurisdictions to the bet? Why, your Qi family wants to make a bet with my Zhang family's 60% with less than 40% of the street jurisdiction. That's too ridiculous. How can there be such a good thing in the world? Zhang Zhen sneered disdainfully. What if the Qi family bets on the elixir recipe of the menstrual healing liquid? Ning Yechen chuckled. This sentence immediately made Zhang Zhen look moved and hesitant. Recently, the Qi family has been making a lot of money relying on the healing spirit liquid, which makes the Zhang family jealous. The Zhang family also tried to buy a copy, but they were unable to research all the medicinal materials needed for the prescription and could not imitate the refining. If he could obtain that prescription and occupy the entire Nanli city, then the Zhang family would be the sole owner of the Jingjing spiritual liquid. The price is not determined by him. But after all the Zhang family's property in Nanli city was at stake, so Zhang Zhen had to be cautious. Lord Holy Envoy, are you sure you can win that woman? Zhang Zhen leaned close to Chen Ru's ear and asked quietly. Chen Ru stared at Luo Ruiying and smiled softly. Master Zhang, don't worry, you're 99% sure. After receiving Chen Ru's affirmative reply, Zhang Zhen looked happy and immediately turned around and agreed to Ning Yechen's request to change the bet. Okay, the Zhang family agrees. Ning Yechen smiled slightly, turned around and looked at Qi Rongchang, the head of the Qi family, and said sheepishly. I have taken the liberty to change the bet on behalf of the Qi family. Is the head of the Qi family willing to accept it? According to what the gentleman said, Qi Rongchang was not dissatisfied at all because Ning Yechen changed the bet without authorization and included the precious elixir as a bet. Because his Qi family has no right to be dissatisfied. The pill formula was given to the Qi family by Ning Yechen, so the decision-making power was naturally in his hands. Moreover, Luo Ruiying is also willing to fight on behalf of the Qi family, and the Qi family is very grateful. My Qi family also agreed. Qi Rongchang shouted to Zhang Zhen sternly. The Qi family and the Zhang family pressed their fingerprints again and changed the bet under the witness of Han Guangji, the head of the Treasure Chamber of Commerce who stayed in Nanli City. The head of the Jumbo Chamber of Commerce will also serve as a witness and referee for this Chamber of Commerce competition. Han Guangji put away the bet contract and announced to both the Qi family and the Zhang family. In the name of the Treasure Chamber of Commerce, this Chamber of Commerce competition is absolutely fair and just. The competition is life or death, until one party dies or surrenders. If the Qi family and the Zhang family have no objections, this Chamber of Commerce competition will officially begin. More and more people gathered in the seats under the ring, and many people watching the excitement gradually gathered around. Hearing that the Qi family and the Zhang family had changed the bet for the competition, everyone was looking forward to the outcome of the Qi family and the Zhang family. It can be said that both families have staked everything in Nanli City. On the ring, the rest of the Zhang family and Qi family retreated, leaving only Luo Ruiying and Chen Ru standing on the ring. Barriers rose around the circular arena, covering the entire arena. Fights between monks are extremely dangerous, especially those with more advanced cultivation. Their moves are often earth-shattering, and it is inevitable that there will be some repercussions. Competitions and discussions in the city require extreme caution. Ning Yechen hugged Luo Hongye and sat on the seat to watch quietly. Qi Yuan also sat beside him. At this time, Qi Yuan looked worriedly and nervously at Luo Ruiying on the stage, holding his hands nervously. Luo Hongye, who was sitting in Ning Yechen's arms, raised her head and looked at Ning Yechen, her face full of worry. "Dad, are you going to fight with bad guys again?" "Yeah, but don't worry about it overnight. Kiss her, your mother is very powerful." Ning Yechen smiled and rubbed Luo Hongye's head to comfort him. He is very clear about his wife's strength. She could almost kill someone at the peak of the heavenly god realm with one sword, let alone someone at the peak of the heavenly realm. Even if there is a real emergency, no one will find out even if he takes action secretly. He would never let Luo Ruiying get hurt. Qi Yuan, who was sitting next to Ning Yechen, couldn't help but look guilty. She hoped that Luo Ruiying could win, but she was also worried that she would be injured. If Luo Ruiying was really hurt because of her, she would really blame herself. How could she dare to face Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye in the future? On the ring, Chen Ru stared at Luo Ruiying in front of her, confidently spread her hands and smiled with an open embrace. "Come on, let me see what you are capable of." As soon as she finished speaking, Luo Ruiying frowned, and her figure disappeared from the place in an instant. Only a pale golden shadow was left in place. When Chen Ru came back to her senses, Luo Ruiying's cold red eyes were already in front of him. The fairy sword at his waist was unsheathed, and the golden sword light shone on his face. At this moment, time seemed to be slowed down countless times. The playful and confident expression on Chen Ru's face gradually turned into panic, and she slowly opened her mouth. So fast. This speed. Is she really in the heavenly realm? PFF'd. The golden sword light directly scratched Chen Ru's body, and slashed it down with a diagonal sword. Blood splashed out instantly. Luo Ruiying had no intention of talking nonsense with Chen Ru, and was ready to end it quickly and neatly. She has to go home quickly to take care of her children. Puff. Chen Ru vomited blood, immediately took a step back, dodged and distanced herself, and threw out several Heavenly Thunder Hunyuan pearls in her hand. The power of the Heavenly Thunder Hunyuan pearl is extremely powerful. Each one contains the compressed power of a huge amount of heavenly thunder. It needs to be refined with the help of heavenly thunder. Very precious. The power of the burst of thunder is enough to kill a monk in the immortal realm with one blow. And he threw out more than a dozen of them at once. This has been one of the trump cards that he has treasured for a long time and has been reluctant to use. He didn't expect that this woman would be so strong that he had to take action immediately without reservation. More than a dozen Heavenly Thunder Hunyuan pearls floated around Luo Ruiying, surrounding her. Thunder. Explode. Chen Ru raised her fingers and issued a decree angrily. More than a dozen Sky Thunder Hunyuan pearls flashed with thunder light and exploded instantly. When Luo Ruiying saw this, her expression was indifferent. The fairy sword in her hand was magnificently reversed, and the sword was inserted into the ground. The sword energy rippled out, and a transparent golden shadow enveloped Luo Ruiying. Boom boom boom. More than a dozen Heavenly Thunder Hunyuan pearls exploded at the same time, and their power was truly astonishing. The entire arena was blown to pieces in an instant and was in dilapidated condition. Everyone sitting close to the arena couldn't help being frightened and evacuated far away. Thick dust enveloped the entire arena. Everyone held their breath and stared at the ring nervously. Chen Ru covered her bleeding chest with a smug and sinister smile on her face. With the power of more than a dozen Heavenly Thunder Hunyuan pearls, even if you don't die, you may only have half your life left. However, Soon after the dust dispersed, Luo Ruiying appeared in front of everyone with her fairy sword in hand and her delicate and beautiful fairy posture intact. Not to mention being injured, the fairy dress on her body was not damaged at all. How is this possible? Chen Ru was shocked and confused. How could there be nothing happening at the center of more than a dozen heavenly thunder Hunyuan pearls at the same time? Under the ring, everyone in the Qi family also breathed a sigh of relief, with reassuring smiles on their faces. Ning Yechen smiled lightly from beginning to end. Luo Ruiying has basically recovered from her injuries now, and the immortal moves she has learned are all unique skills in the immortal world. How could it be possible to hurt her with just a few small beads? Moreover, the golden light of the fairy sword in her hand shines brightly. When it moves, the light of the sword is like a shadow, and when it is still, the fairy light is full and elegant, which is extraordinary. If Chen Ru hadn't put on a low-level fairy armor from the beginning, he would have been split in two by a sword from the beginning. Compared to the Qi family, the Zhang family looked extremely sad. The holy envoy of the Holy Lotus sect has a cultivation level at the peak of the heavenly realm. How could he be so helpless in front of that woman? The promised 99% chance of winning. Zhang Li also had a gloomy look on his face. Now his legs are disabled, he will never be able to walk again, and his lifeblood is gone. This made him even more irritable and vicious. And he blamed all these sins on Ning Yeshen's family. It was because he met them that day that he wasted some time on the road, so he was assassinated and became like this. So before the competition, he specifically told Chen Ru to humiliate Luo Ruiying in public. The result was completely unexpected and one-sided. Chen Ru is no match for Luo Ruiying. This was difficult for everyone in the Zhang family to accept. Chen Ru also noticed the Luo Shenxian sword in Luo Ruiying's hand at this time, and looked shocked. That is definitely a fairy sword. Otherwise, it would be impossible to easily cut off the Zanyun immortal armor on his body with one sword. Originally, he was confident that he could win easily with the help of Zanyun immortal armor and Tian Lei Hunyuan pearl. But I didn't expect that the other party also had a good fairy sword in his hand. Chen Ru's already pale face became even more pale as a sheet due to excessive blood loss, and her complexion became even more ugly and gloomy. Lord Holy Envoy, what are you waiting for? Kill him quickly. Zhang Li was so angry that he shouted angrily at Chen Ru on the stage. The most important thing was gone, and he had lost interest in Luo Ruiying. He just wants to see Luo Ruiying die. Moreover, this competition is also related to the entire future of the Zhang family in Nanli City. No mistakes are allowed. Being called out like this by a loser, Chen Ru's expression turned sinister. When he wins the competition and returns, he will kill this loser from the Zhang family. If he hadn't provoked others with his troubles, I'm afraid he wouldn't have to deal with Luo Ruiying today. But no matter what, he can never lose in today's competition. Chen Ru had a look of hatred on her face, took out a lotus seed from her arms and took it into her mouth, with a pale and sinister smile on her pale face. Hey, you forced me to do this. Ah! After taking the lotus seeds, Chen Ru instantly burst out with a surge of violent spiritual power. The spiritual aura on his body continues to soar, and he has obviously reached the level of cultivation that has initially entered the realm of gods. Everyone in the Zhang family at the table couldn't help but smile with joy when they saw this. With this momentum, the Holy Envoy has become serious. Kill her quickly, Lord Holy Envoy. Zhang Zhen was also full of excitement at this time. Regardless of his identity as the head of the family, he couldn't wait to shout. He just wanted to win quickly and seize the entire Nanli city, and didn't want anything to happen again. When the violent and raging atmosphere gradually calmed down, Chen Ru looked at Luo Ruiying with a sinister expression, and a proud smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. You're already pretty good at pushing me to this point. But that's it. Even if you want to surrender next, it will be too late. Taking the holy lotus seeds to temporarily break through to the realm of gods requires great damage to one's own foundation. This means that it may be difficult for him to truly break through to the realm of gods in the future. This was his last trump card, and it was also the reason why he dared to say with such confidence that he had a 90% chance of winning before the competition began. But he really didn't want to get to this point if he didn't have to. Since he was forced to do this, he would naturally not let Luo Ruiying go easily. However, Just as Chen Ru finished speaking, Luo Rying's eyes filled with a glazed golden light, and the appearance of Luo Shenxian Zun faintly appeared behind her. She ducked and approached Chen Ru again, stared coldly, and swung out the fairy sword in her hand. The Luo Shen Faxiong behind him also slashed out with a sword. This time Chen Ru saw Luo Rying's movements clearly, but she misjudged her strength. Chen Ru looked shocked. She used her spiritual power to break the barrier and raised her sword in front of him. However, the Luo Shen fairy sword easily cut off the spiritual sword in his hand, and the golden sword light flashed across his neck. Even the arena barrier behind him was cut open by the sword light. Chen Ru looked blank and stood there with a face of disbelief. How is this possible? Did he lose? What the hell is going on with this woman? With such speed and sword power, is she really at the heavenly realm? Chen Ru couldn't understand, and he would never have the chance to understand. As Luo Rying's fairy sword returned to its sheath and let out a clear sound, Chen Ru's head rolled down from her neck. The entire arena was completely silent. Chen Ru is dead. The Zhang family actually lost. That strong man at the peak of the heavenly realm was killed in front of the woman in front of him with just 2 swords. Didn't he forcefully break through to the realm of gods just now, but he couldn't block that sword. Everyone present was stunned. Many people thought that the Zhang family was a sure winner in this competition, but they never expected that the result would be so unexpected. After the Qi family was briefly shocked, they suddenly burst into shocking cheers. We won. Our Qi family won. Very good. Mr. Qi, we won. As the Qi family cheered, the rest of the people at the table also congratulated and cheered with joy. This is also the result that most people want to see. It can be said that it is what everyone expected. Luo Ruiying slowly jumped off the ring and walked towards Ning Yechen and Luo Hongye. Ning Yechen also carried Luo Hongye towards Luo Ruiying, preparing to give his wife a hard hug. But he didn't expect that another figure was 1 step ahead of him and quickly flew into Luo Rying's arms. Sister Luo, thank you so much. You were really awesome. Qi Yuan hugged Luo Ruiying tightly and expressed gratitude. At this time, she was in tears with excitement and cried with joy. Luo Ruiying smiled slightly and didn't say much. He used Luo Shen forcefully again, and the spiritual power in his body was exhausted. Fortunately, with the experience of dealing with the ghost husband last time, and Chen Ru's cultivation level is not too strong, this time she did not overextend her spiritual power. Madam, thank you for your hard work. Ning Yechen carried Luo Hongye to Luo Ruiying and said with a slight smile. Then he glanced angrily at Qi Yuan who was still holding Luo Ruiying. This girl really took his place. There really is no atmosphere at all. Luo Ruiying smiled proudly and took Luo Hongye from Ning Yechen's hand. As the former Empress of the Immortal Realm, if she can't even reach the peak of the Celestial Realm, then she has been practicing for so long in vain. Just when the family of 3 was about to leave, Zhang Zhen's angry shout suddenly sounded from behind. Wait a moment, I don't approve of this competition. Cheating. She must have used some despicable means, otherwise how could she have defeated the Holy Envoy? Zhang Zhen pointed at Luo Ruiying and roared almost hysterically. He cannot accept such a result at all. Luo Ruiying won the competition, which meant that from this moment on, the Zhang family lost all street jurisdiction in Nanli City. The entire Nanli City will belong to the Qi family. All his hard work was in vain. Why, the Zhang family can't afford to lose. Are you going to default on your debt? Qi Yuan looked at Zhang Zhen and mocked with a proud expression. She has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Finally, I no longer have to endure the oppression of the Zhang family. I will never admit the results of this competition. Zhang Zhen stared at Qi Yuan angrily, his fierce eyes like a wild beast wanting to eat her. Everyone in the Zhang family and the guards also came over with weapons in hand and surrounded everyone in the Qi family. The scene became tense instantly. At this moment, Han Guangji slowly fell from midair to between the Qi family and the Zhang family. He looked at the Zhang Zhen family with cold eyes and shouted loudly. The Chamber of Commerce competition has ended. Could it be that the Zhang family wants to violate the rules set by the Treasure Chamber of Commerce? Han Guangji's powerful cultivation aura burst out, instantly shocking everyone in the Zhang family to retreat. The Chamber of Commerce competition witnessed by the Jumbo Chamber of Commerce is absolutely fair and just. The Zhang family's behavior has violated the rules of the Treasure Chamber of Commerce. Everyone in the Zhang family looked shocked and fearful. I never expected that Han Guangji's cultivation level was that of a god. Moreover, the Treasure Chamber of Commerce is spread all over the world, and its power cannot be underestimated. It is definitely not something that the Zhang family like him can afford to offend. The crowd of people watching around have long been dissatisfied with the Zhang family's arrogant appearance, and now they want to go back on their words after losing the competition. Everyone cheered for the Qi family angrily and stood behind the Qi family. The Zhang family has already lost. Is it possible that they still want to take action? Back on promise, the Zhang family has disgraced the name of the Chamber of Commerce. Get out! The Zhang family instantly became the target of public criticism in the martial arts arena, with everyone shouting and scolding them like rats crossing the street. Everyone in the Zhang family clenched their fists angrily, snorted angrily, and turned around to leave dejectedly. There are people from the Treasure Chamber of Commerce here, and they have provoked public anger, so they must not take action. Wait, one day, he will make everyone present regret it. Zhang Zhen thought viciously in his heart. Today is simply a humiliation to the Zhang family. Qi Rongchang was so happy that he didn't forget to shout to Zhang Zhen behind him. Please, Mr. Zhang, please prepare the street jurisdiction contract within tomorrow and deliver it to my Qi family. Zhang Zhen was so angry that his lungs were about to explode and he did not turn around to answer. Like a bereaved dog scurrying away. After everyone in the Zhang family left, Qi Rongchang turned to Luo Ruiying, bowed solemnly and thanked. Thank you Fairy Luo for your help. My Qi family will always remember this kindness in our hearts. If Luo Ruiying hadn't taken action on behalf of the Qi family, I'm afraid there would be no more Qi family in Nanli City after today. Everyone in the Qi family was filled with infinite gratitude to Luo Ruiying. Mr. Qi, you're welcome. Luo Ruiying smiled softly and said politely. I wonder if Fairy Luo, Master Ning, and your concubine would like to come to my Qi family as guests. I have ordered people to prepare a banquet and entertain me with a feast to show my family's gratitude. Qi Rongchang smiled and invited Luo Ruiying. With Luo Ruiying's cultivation strength and Ning Yechen's extraordinary talent, either one of them is enough to win over the Qi family. It is absolutely right to have a good relationship with a powerful monk whose strength is enough to kill the peak of the heavenly realm with one sword. Sister Luo, come and sit at our house, so that my Qi family can express their gratitude. Qi Yuan also echoed expectantly. Facing the Qi family's warm invitation, Luo Ruiying and Ning Yechen looked at each other and understood each other without words. Luo Ruiying slowly shook her head and politely declined to Qi Rongchang and Qi Yuan. Thank you Qi family for your kindness, but my husband and I don't like the excitement. Besides, I have prepared the ingredients at home today, so I won't bother the Qi family. I guess the Qi family has a lot to do today. They came to Nanli City to live in seclusion, mainly to live an ordinary and peaceful life. On the one hand, the reason for assisting the Qi family this time was because they did not want to accept the Qi family's kindness in gifting the house in vain. On the other hand, they were simply disgusted with the Zhang family and did not want to have too much involvement with the Qi family. Hearing Luo Ruiying's refusal, Qi Rongchang and Qi Yuan couldn't help but look disappointed, but they didn't press any further. Now that the Qi family Chamber of Commerce has won the competition, the Qi family's situation in Nanli City has been reversed instantly. There is indeed a lot of preparation work waiting for the Qi family to take over. Ning Yechen, on the other hand, smiled and told Qi Yuan. Miss Qi, if you are free tomorrow, come and see me at my home. Qi Yuan and Luo Ruiying were both curious and confused. I wonder what Ning Yechen asked her to do with him tomorrow. However, Qi Yuan still nodded and responded. Okay, brother Ning. Ning Yechen didn't explain, turned around and took Luo Ruiying's hand to leave. Luo Ruiying's hand was suddenly held tightly as she walked away. Luo Ruiying's expression was startled, and her heart was inexplicably moved. Surprisingly, she didn't hate the feeling of being led by him like this. After calming down, Luo Ruiying also took the initiative to hold Ning Yechen's hand. The family of three left slowly under the watchful eyes of everyone. The onlookers gave way to the road in awe. Many people recognized Luo Ruiying at a glance as the beautiful woman they saw a few days ago. Now, after seeing her true cultivation strength, no one dares to be disrespectful to her in the slightest. That is a strong man who can kill the peak of the heavenly realm with one sword. Killing them is no easier than killing a chicken. The two walked hand in hand back to the front of the house. As they walked, Luo Ruiying discovered that there were a lot of luggage piled up at the door of the empty houses next to them. Many servants came in and out carrying things. It seems that all the houses have been sold. All the nearby houses were sold overnight, which is quite unusual for this relatively remote place. Yi Chen, it seems like there are new neighbors next door. I'll get something for them later. Although new neighbors have arrived, life may not be so quiet in the future, but Luo Ruiying still plans to follow the custom of friendly neighbors in the mortal world and say hello to the new neighbors. Of course Ning Yechen would not object. Just when he was about to agree, he happened to see the door of the house next door open and a very familiar figure walk out. Yi Tianxian, who put on simple clothes, walked to the door, moved his things like a mortal and prepared to enter the house. After seeing Ning Yechen, Yi Tianxian smiled slightly on his stern face, nodded slightly to show his goodwill, and didn't say a word. It's like saying hello to a new neighbor. Ning Yechen, operator. Ning Yechen was stunned. What's happening here? That guy is definitely Yi Tianxian. There's no way he could admit his mistake. Although his concealment was perfect, he could still see his hidden cultivation. When Luo Ruiying saw Yi Tianxian taking the initiative to show his kindness to them, she nodded in a friendly manner in return. Yi Tianxian didn't say anything, but walked back into the house holding his things as if he didn't know him. The other person was quite polite. I'll go inside to get some fruit and say hello to him. Luo Ruiying was going to go home, pick up some fruit, and go say hello to her new neighbors. Ning Yechen was so frightened that he quickly stopped and said, "Madam, no, why?" Luo Ruiying looked at Ning Yechen doubtfully. This was the first time she saw Ning Yechen looking so excited and nervous. Madam, just take Yi home and stay there. Go and buy some fruit for your husband personally to say hello to him. Just leave this matter to your husband," Ning Yechen explained with a smile. As he spoke, he pushed Luo Ruiying back to the door of his home. If this brought Luo Ruiying into contact with Yi Tianxian, it would be terrible if he saw the clues, or if Yi Tianxian accidentally revealed his identity in a slip of the tongue. All right, then I'll leave it to you. Although Luo Ruiying was a little confused as to why Ning Yechen was suddenly so enthusiastic and insisted on visiting the neighbors in person, she didn't think much about it and returned home first with Luo Hongye in her arms. After seeing Luo Ruiying walking towards her home, Ning Yechen quickly appeared at Yi Tianxian's home and came to him. "I've met Lord Demon Lord." Yi Tianxian quickly stopped what he was doing, put his hand on his chest, and bowed respectfully to greet him. Ning Yechen had a cold face, frowned, and looked very unhappy, and asked, "What are you doing here? Didn't I ask you not to come over and disturb my life?" "My subordinates dare not," Yi Tianxian immediately replied solemnly. "Then quickly pack your things and return to the demon realm. Don't appear in front of me again." Ning Yechen immediately gave the order to drive away. However, unexpectedly, Yi Tianxian did not obey this time, but said, "Lord Demon Lord, I forgive my subordinates for their difficulty in obeying. We are ordered to guard the side of Lord Demon Lord, his wife and the little princess. We are always waiting for your orders to protect the madam and the little princess. Lord Demon Lord, please rest assured, I will disguise my identity and will never bring you any trouble, Lord Demon Lord." When Ning Yechen saw that Yi Tianxian dared to disobey his order, he was so angry that he was about to raise his hand to teach him a lesson before throwing him back to the demon world himself. However, as soon as he raised his hand, Ning Yechen realized the meaning of Yi Tianxian's words. "Wait, what do you mean? I'll wait. Besides you, is there anyone else coming?" Yi Tianxian lowered his head and replied respectfully. "Yes, in addition to his subordinates, other legion commanders as well as the commanders, generals, imperial guards, and secret guards have been ordered to disguise their identities and lurk throughout the city. Always at your disposal, Lord Demon Lord." Ning Yechen looked stunned. Who gave the order? Lord Demon Lord, this is Lord Protector Zuo. Could it be that she's here too? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.